Bang.
Daniel?
You're on bang.
Hey, bang. I don't want you out the band when you stay in the field. Just like saying, right, stand there.
You're a fair brother with a beautiful t-shirt. One more play, Rick. That takes it there where he was.
There it is. The winning runs. Australia's reclaimed the Ashes.
It's all happening. Warner's on a hat-trick. He moves in. It pops up. It's caught! It's caught by Boone! He stuck his hand out to score it. Oh, this Cowboys.
Yes, young king on legs, David Boone. He's done it again. What do you reckon about that one, Rich?
Well, Max, simply super with David Boone. Simply super.
And now it's time to say goodbye. Give me a beer, I'm gonna cry. We love you more than the words can say. In our fair hearts, you're here to stay. Oh, David Boone, he was the one who sang the tune. Oh, David Boone, David, Cloud Spoon. Oh, David Boone, he was the one who sang the tune. Oh, David Boone,
I do, I get more than you. Yeah, you got 46. Yeah.
It doesn't take much, though, does it?
Welcome back, everybody. It is semi-final number 2. Norfolk versus Wellington. And Wellington will be kicking it off. And number 31 is Richard Dilgar. Looks like Wishart's warming up at the southern end of the ground. It's SCA Festival of Cricket. We're a few days away from the big present drop. Santa Claus is coming too, I believe, later on. And Sebastian Wishart just trying to get his field placements right on a ground which is a challenge to get all the direction and the players. And now there's a start. Wishart. And Doran saying sneaking down the leg with his right arm, just indicating squeezing it down. Martin Duffy is squeezed up just behind us on the scissor lift. And I can tell you, I'm not sure he's got any insurance, but it's blowing here. 20 or 30 knots at the moment. It comes up in gusts and then slows down. And Martin Duffy can't go too high on the scissor lift, or otherwise it becomes a bit of a occupational health and safety issue, as Dilgar trying to pierce the offside field and unable to. So early this morning, commanding victory for Old Beach. They're into the grand final. So the winner of today will be playing in a grand final, and that's a commanding start. As Dilgar strikes one down the ground for the first blow of this second semi-final. Well, he's tried again, but on this occasion, bottom edge. And a man sweeping deep on the leg side boundary. So it was a big victory around about half an hour ago for Old Beach over Claremont. 216 was a chase from runs from the top of the order. Downton, Clay, and also, as we've just got to change of field now, and it brings Nathan Webb on strike. A little short that occasion, and also wide. Second boundary in a different spot. Same result, 4 runs, so good start here. Webb and Dilgar, couple apiece. And Sebastian Wishart's over's done. First over done here. So Josh Rowlands will open up as the wind coming through again. He's got a pretty standard field. It's a little bit of protection on the leg side, square leg on the boundary, and also deep point as well, protecting that. And a boundary. So Rowlands has got that little hop at the end of his delivery stride. A lot of experience, but a lot of overs for Norfolk. Just a bit of pace taken off that, and just made the check shot from Dilgar. Single to him. So there's in a couple of boundaries already. Imagine this will be pretty tightly fought SCA T20 grand final, a semi-final, because we've got Old Beach waiting. I'll better sit back, enjoy and relax. And the challenge for both these two sides is that the winner takes an Old Beach without a break. Just a nuance of the roster. Let's make it a little bit more challenging. It's not particularly warm, but just makes it a little bit harder. It's just angled in. Now, just for a moment, there's a Rollins was about to launch into an appeal and get the vocal cords moving, but I can tell you it was mostly bat. Now, those are joining us here on Duff TV. We hope you're enjoying your coverage. A big thank you to the Kookaburra Southern Cricket Association sponsors. There they are. Bendigo Bank, Kookaburra. We've also got Good Sports as a major supporter, as well as Greg Chappell Cricket Centre out there in Moona. Short delivery and looked to try and get it over the top of the slips, but couldn't quite get any bat on it. And a dot ball. And there you go, the Wellington Warriors, their sponsors. Jane Roofing, Cranes Combine, and 13008 Taxis. Now the opposite, a full delivery. And that is the end of Rollins, 2 down. The chase for a grand final spot is up for grabs. It's the SCA Festival of Cricket here at Old Beach, as we're going to hold on. And there we go, there's the new Norfolk. The Red Caps, 911. Paulie's Pizza. Not sure I've seen that one. Banjos out there, ripping little banjos out there on the main road of New Norfolk. Specialist Industrial Products. The Valley, New Norfolk. I wonder what they do. Brian Mitchell as well, the MP out there. He's got a little drinks, I'm being told. Is it a cafe, Jared? We need to find out. Where is Rick Finlay? He's your mate now, isn't he? So straight away, Aaron Drew into the attack. And his field he's contending with at the moment, Drew. 5 on the off, all inside the ring. And so he really only has one spot. This is a little sneaky single. A little bit of a hurry in the air, and they're not going to go back for the second as that ball's being backed up. So at the moment, 3, 4, 5 on the off. Inside that ring to the right-hander. Well, I should say to the left-hander. And now I've got some changes. So the man goes back to the deep mid-wicket fence. So once again, it's going to be back of a length, outside off. And that is back over the fence and nearly through the door of the little community centre up there. There's a few patrons just in the shade, and they had to duck for cover as that ball sailed back out towards the leg side. So the first 6er here in the Wellington innings. And that's off the bat of Nathan Webb, and I imagine Webb will want to see a few more of those on this small ground. Bit of a challenge for the umpires and the players. Left-hand, right-hand combination. You got to flick back and forth. And each time, looks like Westaway umpire, Mr. Umpire Westaway. Every time he runs, he's trying to keep hold of that floppy hat. I reckon that's misdirected by Drew. I don't think he's looking to jam it in. It's a dangerous ball to bowl, though there is a fielder deep backward square. But there's only 2 fielders inside the ring on the leg side. And so it's a little bit of a risky ball to bowl full and on the legs. He needs to stick to that back of a length offside early. Maybe just change the pace up. There's only really one fielder in a catching, well, has to be one fielder kind of lurking there at mid-wicket. He's probably 8 or 10, 12 metres off the bat. And that's Drew done. 3 down here in the second of the 2 T20 Grand semi-finals. And a positive start here for Richard Dilgar and also Nathan Webb. Good crowd starting to build up here at Old Beach. And the wind, most importantly, just lost a little bit of its potency. Saw plenty of potency in the batting in the last game. Rhett Lockyer with taking some big shots to the leg side towards Jetty Road. Here's a large fence, or net that goes around that area, sort of from deep backward square leg out towards a fairly straight cover. Well, that's a bad bowl, and the result is a car getting whacked. It skimmed off the top of the fence. It smacked into a vehicle over there. Hopefully no damage. But it was probably one of the worst balls Roland's probably bowled this season. And due diligence to it, it was smacked, as we see. A very poor delivery, whacked, bang. Only a few inches away from the window. Let's hope they've got window protection. Another 2, 6, 4. So Roland's just losing his length. And a bit of momentum now starting to get going with these two openers. Webb into the 20s. Could be another. It's getting peppered at the moment, that offside boundary, just forward and backward a point. And I recommend anyone who's got their car parked out there, maybe just go and move it. Because Nathan Webb is going to try and launch a ball onto it. He's hitting with a bit of a breeze. It's not a particularly long boundary. He's not having any trouble finding it at the moment. And that's a better delivery. You need to see the change of Webb looking to try and crack it over the leg side, but he's certainly got the right field for that delivery. However, with a short boundary, hard ball, you can't really bowl short on this ground. Is that going to get over the top? Just. Wishart so close. Thought for a moment there might have been a launch at it and a dive. And he couldn't quite. Just got carried. And a couple. So into the over. Really good start here. We see on the replay. It was one of those awkward ones. It nearly needed to be a launch and a dive with one arm. 4 overs into this match. And then none for 42. So just going shy of just above 10 and over. Webb on 26, Dilgar on 15. So Andrew Drew trying to push into a stiff breeze from the southern end. Was just thinking about appeal there for a little while, but decided it wasn't really worth the energy. So 5 boundaries so far that have reached the fence and a couple that have gone over from Webb. 26 from 13 deliveries. Dilgar, the left-hander. It's in the air. Out. First down. Drew gets the wicket. And Dilgar couldn't go over. Maybe trying to get it over the infield. And has found his demise, hitting it straight to point. So he'll be disappointed with that, as Sean Farrelly doesn't mind giving it a whack. Likes to hit particularly square of the wicket. As you see here on the replay, just moved a little bit to the leg. Tried to get a little bit of room. And actually in the end, it was one of those ones you might hit at training where you just whack the ball off the angle and straight to the fielder. So wicket down, the first one here. Webb on 26, Farrelly new to the wicket. So Drew to Farrelly, the all-rounder. He made some runs in last year's T20 festival out there at Cambridge. A couple of lusty blows, I'm rightly remember, just to the left-hand side on leg side wafts, and a couple through the off as well. Well, there's that one through the off. In and out. I reckon that's gone all the way. Yep, no, it was only a boundary in the end, only a 4-for. There's the intent from Farrelly. He's confident to come down the wicket and hit in out over extra cover. And a big flourish of the cricket bat. Geez, I reckon that might have hit the rope nearly on the full. It might have been one of those half volleys. Don't look like, no, he's just pulled this up here. So aborted run up. Nice afternoon just coming out here in Old Beach as the wind at the moment is down. That's in the air. There's a fielder coming in. Now he's got to go back. He's completely misjudged it and he's managed to keep it in. But he could say, Seb Wishart, he made a bit of a meal of that. Misjudged it in the breeze. And Farrelly doesn't get a life necessarily, but had some luck. Here it is. So did go in the air. See him come in. He's taken, what, 10 paces in, and then he's gone 7 or 8 back. And in the end, he did a really good job at actually preventing the ball from coming and rolling into the rope. So a little bit of luck. Yeah, Aaron.
Aaron, how are you?
Good, mate. G'day, Andrew. Do you want to sit there?
Yeah.
All right, we've got a bit of help in the commentary position. Andrew Doughton, welcome, mate.
Hello, welcome, and what a day. What a day out here.
Well, it's not bad, and the wind's gone down as well, Andrew, so hopefully it stays that way for a while. So we've got a little bit of a change in the bowling line up here. Looks like Bank Smith.
He goes all right.
His pace is increased too on Bank Smith. So what's sort of the
right end, isn't he?
Well, tell you what, everyone's challenged at that end of the ground, aren't they? The wind's
Absolutely.
a massive problem. What's the run up like at that end?
Beautiful. Yeah, it's just into a headwind, isn't it? But it looks like it just
No,
shifts
no one
around.
likes, no cyclist or bowler wants to run into a headwind, do they, when they're coming in?
No, especially at 42, mate. I'll be bowling this end, hopefully.
So what's the team looking like at the moment, Andrew? Is that one's whipped down backward point, I should say, deep square out for another boundary? So
we had probably a bit of a decision to make, so which is a good thing. Well, we've got pretty good depth in our squad. We had an inter-club game on Thursday night, and a few of the, I suppose, the lower graders, well, less knowns, performed pretty well. So we were in a pretty strong position, and they just third grade won there, 2020 over at Edie Street today.
So they've won already? Okay.
They've won, yeah. So we just got to keep going. But Webby's in fine touch.
Oh, he's looking good, Nick, and he's obviously a quality batter. There's Bank Smith now. That one is a wicket. So out of nowhere, a second one, and then a first and a second, and a couple of ones. That's Josh Rowlands, who's had a bit of an iffy start with the ball. He's managed to take a catch.
Always the way, isn't it? Commentator curse, saying that Webby's going beautifully, and yeah, he just planted that one straight at mid-off.
I mean, you could see him actually a little bit of potential energy worked up, and he's trying to actually get that a little straighter, I think. And
yeah, he loves a bit of width. Yeah, you don't bowl width. That was a little bit straighter and probably a little bit quicker, and yeah, good catch in the end.
It was a great catch by Rowlands, and Norfolk could just drag this back a bit. It was a really good start here from Wellington. Farrelly, though, he doesn't mind whacking the ball either side of the wicket. He likes an inside-out shot, doesn't he, Andrew?
Yep, very good player, and very good pick-up for us.
He also doesn't mind coming down the wicket. He likes to run at the ball a bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's in a bit of form too. So he's he's come across from St Aidan's and very good pickup, good bloke on and off the field. Very smart bowler as well. So you'll see him later on today. He's mixed up his pace pretty well.
Is that the key, do you think, in these sort of T20 games on the syntho wickets? You've got to, does a change of pace actually work?
Yeah, up and down the gears, absolutely. Yeah, just rolling the fingers or, I mean, 2020s, you don't want to bowl the same ball twice in a row. So, yeah, basically want to change it up. This wicket settled down a bit. It was a little bit slowish probably a couple of years ago. But
yep.
Now the synthetic takes a couple of years to settle down. And, yeah, I mean, if you're bending your back, you can get them through pretty well on this week.
Is there sort of a sense for you to maybe drop a few in? Because we saw the short ball got dealt with in the first T20 game. This ground's obviously square of the wicket. It's short boundaries. Is that a strategy you might use to dig a few in?
Potentially. Depends who are sort of bowling against. Like Seb Wishart's a pretty good player, so I probably won't be bowling short. But Nathan Muir's in pretty good form as well. So, yeah, basically, it depends on the bowler. I mean, it's pretty long square to the roadside.
Yeah,
so
it's a one to protect, isn't it? The roadside, jetty roadside's the one that's got a little bit easy to protect. Although you're uphill here, but you've also got the wind sort of coming across you, which makes it a little easier.
About 40 odd metres down this way, but it's actually bigger than you think when you're out there.
Well, there was a few tired legs in the first game, as I think they were probably recovering.
There's a few weary lads around. We've spoken to a few of them before, and I must admit I'm a little bit weary myself, but.
You went down the cage, were you, Andrew, last night?
We were down there for one. Yeah,
one session or one drink?
One drink. It was just too packed. Couldn't get to the bar. It's just it's like being in a washing machine. I described it. So it's ridiculous. Got out before the heroes stepped in.
Yeah. It's a full ball, but there's some really good protection behind square and no run. So good field placements to a poor delivery. That's the end of the over, and we're on SCA T20, second of the two semi-finals. Old Beach already made it to the grand final, and there are some of our sponsors. Thanks to those: Good Sport, Bendigo Bank, Kookaburra, and the Greg Chappell Cricket Centre there in Moona. Andrew, how's the body going? Obviously, you mentioned you're 42, so you've played a lot of cricket at a few clubs.
Yep.
How do you sort of keep your momentum going?
Just probably I suppose space my games. I didn't play a lot before. I didn't play much in October. Played one game in November, so coming into it a little bit fresh. If I play 10 games a year, then that's probably too many. But, you just got to be nice and fresh. It's not from not heading to the gym too much these days, so got to
avoiding the gym maybe.
Oh, yeah,
tactically avoiding it.
No, get sick just looking at the rower.
And that's down the ground, but safely, just bouncing once in front. So trying to play some shots here.
Yeah, fresh is key, but then, you saw Dents is 44, so he's a couple of years on me, and he's looking fresh as ever. Yeah, but I don't
maybe he's doing some Pilates or yoga, Andrew.
He's a beast.
Might have been an inside edge on that one. There's a bit of a half a pill from
Doors won't give him unless they're out. Just ask him.
No, he's not keen for the LBs either. When he was a player, he probably didn't copped a few. Maybe he's getting less revenge. What about these two batters? They've obviously been around the club for a while and experienced players.
Yeah, missed me up. Very good clubman. Skipper. Yeah, he's. He could easily play first grade, TCA if he wanted to. But I'm not sure what his plans are. He's got a pretty good job, Origin Energy, and he's one of the big bosses there now. So he's nice and busy.
So we still see no bails this end, and that's out. Well, a couple of wickets have gone from trying to whack the ball over the infield and unable to get the loft on it. And unfortunately, the third wicket falls down here for Wellington. It's just stopped a little bit of good momentum they had from their openers.
Is that the third wicket since I've been in here?
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, you got to say, it's the batters not actually getting through the field there, Andrew, but no, another wicket. I think that looks like Carmichael coming in now.
Yep, big rocket, come up from Blackman's Bay. He's a good pickup as well.
Haven't seen him play before, so he's a new player for the club.
Yeah, tell by his physique, he's a bit of a hitter. Yeah. He goes pretty well. Yeah, you don't want to drop short to him. He's very strong through, sort of square leg, mid-wicket area.
Yep.
Pretty good. He's he's a bit of a noodler that side off, but you give him any width, he'll yeah, hopefully put on a bit of a show.
What's the strategy? Is it for batters going out? They're confident enough will they take on the first couple of balls, or do you think most players have still got a way of getting in?
Yeah, Rocket will. Faz down the other end, Sean, he's more of a bit of a grinder, but then probably last 5 overs he'll flow pretty well.
He's waiting for a certain ball, I feel like, Farrelly. I feel like he's looking at that one wide outside off.
Inside out.
Yeah,
that's his go.
He's okay on the leg as well, but I think he's really looking for that one full and outside off stump. He hits it in a kind of variety of locations. So a couple of wickets here falling after a good start, 3 down. You're on Duff TV, and Martin Duffy is on the scissor lift at the moment. He's hanging on for dear life because it's blowing fairly heavily, and when he first put the lift up, I think he was panicking a little bit. He wasn't going to survive the day, and he was going to somehow land in the doing. But he's hanging on, and we're into the second game here in at 3 for 54. So, Andrew, your lineage, you obviously had a good first-class career. Where did you sort of start your cricket?
Sydney. So, yeah, started when I was about 8. So I'm from Western Sydney, out near Parramatta. So we started there just, like any kid does, I suppose, like 8 years old. Then, there was under 10s and then 11s, 12s, 13s and so on and so forth. But, basically did that and then played a year at Fairfield, which is Fairfield, Liverpool. That's Sydney Southwest. And then went down to the mighty Randwick Cricket Club when I was about 16. Stayed there until I was about 21 and then, headed south down here. It was just basically lack of opportunity up there. I played a lot of second 11 New South Wales and then basically into the cricket academy and, just buying a heap of bowlers. So had to come down here for opportunity, I suppose.
So was there a contract offer to you when you came out at 21, or you came out by your own sort of esteem? Yeah,
just knew Damien Wright and I knew Jared Denton. There's only 2 blokes I sort of knew here just through the cricket academy and, basically just backed myself and, being back then the cricket academy was still playing a lot of second 11, like, during September, October, November. So good momentum and then you had the Tassie second 11 games and then, so by my debut was, late December in, mid-December in, 1999, I'd already played, close to 13, 14, sort of 4-day games. So it was...
Has it changed?
It has changed,
the system's kind of evolved, and hasn't it?
And then, to me, I reckon they wrecked it when they made it like a bit of an under-23 competition and sort of lost that prestige, I suppose, of playing the second 11.
They've fallen into other sports. So a lot of other sports have done the same. Soccer's done the same. AFL has done something similar with different academies, and a lot of them say that there's no club or cultural spirit around there. They're literally just playing necessarily to try and further their performance, which doesn't always enhance the opportunity.
No, it's, I think it's just a whole global problem, I suppose. The young blokes have got too many opportunities now. In so many sports. They get identified, ages 8 to 12, somewhere there, and then they try to match you with what you're going to be perfectly suited to. Like if you're tall, you probably go in a basketball program or rowing or something similar. So it's not just footy and then cricket.
There's a bunch of other sports, and they do try and start identifying. I used to work for the LAS for many years, and they started identifying them through school system with their programs at quite early age. And I'm thinking, well, hang on, probably need to look at some of the more European sort of styles where they just let you play. There's slips come into place here as that Bank Smith's trying to attack and maybe get a second wicket. Yeah, you don't want to be giving Rocket too much width out there. But, myself, I suppose, I was always involved in cricket and then, soccer went to about 13, 14. Going to say western suburbs, mate, out of Bankstown, Parramatta area. It's pretty big out there, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Soccer's massive and then had to go at rugby and I was pretty rubbish at that. So, start the cricket. Well,
you've made a good choice. Any highlights when you're running around for the Tigers?
Oh, plenty. Yeah, plenty. Debut, I suppose. I got 6 on debut at the SCG. That was a pretty big highlight. And then the week after, I got 5 for against India, which is down here at Bell Reef, which is pretty... Is it a shame they don't play those? The statesides don't play. I mean, I think Victoria's playing a rubbish game against New Zealand. It's the second 12 or whatever it is. Has that one's been worked in for a quick single on the offside? Yeah, absolute highlight. They just pick Cricket Australia 11 sides, and there's people not even playing first class cricket. Yeah, not even second 11 sometimes, and they're playing in those games. Like to see those guys just on the on the peripheral, I suppose, get an opportunity. But yeah, that was bloody awesome. I mean, with the scheduling now, there's so many games. They just want to have a bit more rest, wouldn't they, international wise? Yeah, no, you're definitely right. It's a very squeezed market at the moment with the amount of different matches, and obviously you're throwing the Big Bash, which is such an... It's gone off, isn't it? Yeah. Jeez, I would have loved to have played that. I would love to have... it was just starting to come in when I was sort of... towards the end of it.
Where do you live, Andrew? You got a
Moona. So,
well, mate, you might have been living in Battery Point, maybe, if you had got the contract. It's a substantial financial gain, isn't it, to play a couple of seasons?
Absolutely, yeah.
And obviously, there's I mean, if you look at the sides in the Big Bash, there's a bunch of players that aren't obviously playing a lot of first-class cricket that actually getting a game due to the fact there's an extra couple of teams. So
that's it.
And you know, not a lot of internationals playing. So.
If you look at it, I mean, you look at Sydney Grey cricket, say, like Sydney Grey cricket, you probably feel another Shield side, just the players not even getting a game in, you know, for New South Wales. So it's just, I mean, other states are obviously catching on to it. I mean, half of Tassie side's half of New South Wales, isn't it? Gracie, how are you, mate?
So we've got a 3 for 57 here. We've got 7 overs gone in the second of the two T20 semi-finals. Andrew Doughton, Aaron Peach Roberts here in the box. G-Funk doing the work on the pots and pans, and Martin Duffy hanging on for dear life in the scissor lift a few metres above us here. The wind has dropped a little bit. We've got a cracking afternoon of cricket here on Duff TV. And at the moment, things have just steadied down as Drew comes in. I think it's his last over. Farrelly and Carmichael.
It's bowled pretty well.
He has bowled well. I think they've got the right field at the moment. So if you kind of look at it, you sort of twist your neck there, Andrew, so don't do an injury, mate. But there's a... I now and again have to stand up and stick my head out of the van here, but we've got actually pretty standard field. But there was a deep mid wicket, and now there's going to bring that extra player up. So the left-hander now has 4 fielders inside the circle on the offside. So
it's good field to him.
Yeah,
very good field. Both full and
can't be short off, but it can be full, and it can be leg side too. There's a little bit of protection to the long boundary to the backward square leg. So it's not a bad field, and there's nearly the perfect delivery. Fullish, a little bit of pace taken off it, and all he could do was knock it into the offside.
Yeah, he's just easing into his work here. These guys, we had an inter-club game on Thursday night, as mentioned before, and these guys put on about 120, I suppose. Went pretty well. It's a pretty good initiative, though. Like there's, I think, looking at the Premier League as well, there's 2020s on this weekend and last weekend, I suppose. But
yeah, I know that Burke and the committee, SCA committee, were trying to work out a few years ago when they would play it, and they had a meeting with Duff and I, you know, about they were going to have them here, and we said, well, try it and see what it does. Obviously, I know Claremont had a chat to a few of their players, and they said they didn't get their full side. People were unable to commit, but there's a nice little crowd that has built up here. It's obviously a time slot. It's a pretty compact season at the moment.
That's it. I mean, most of the games, I think, was a couple after work as well. So in this competition, you had to actually play a game in the competition to actually qualify for finals as well.
What are the? I mean, obviously, a few of the grounds have lights. Is there really any that would be a standout? Obviously, Abbotsfield, Clement's obviously got
outstanding up there. Like the surface and everything up there is great. Why not? Yeah, why not play twilight games up there or whatever? But yeah, 2 in a day. So, Dave, what else are you going to do this time of year?
Yeah, well, it is a festive season, and there's a couple of liveries just a little bit wide in this over, so just losing his way at the moment, Aaron Drew.
His fourth, is it?
Yes, his last over. So he's got the dummy, hasn't he, by going that top end of the ground, the southern end, and no one really wants to be bowling into that end.
Yeah, I don't know. Just having a look at the wind, it might have just shifted around a little bit. Coming across the field a little bit, but bowls.
There's Farrelly just always looking to be in the offside. Now, there's a chance to run at the bowler's end. If he hits, he would have been out.
Come on, boys.
And that was a poor bit of communication. I'm pretty sure Farrelly just took off and was a bit of ball watching then. And a little bit of a mistake. It nearly resulted in a run out. Fortunately, Carmichael stayed put and sent him back.
Yeah, but I think he doesn't want to get at this ball, though.
It is the case, isn't it?
Oh, commentator's curse. He's looking for that little short ball here. Ball off the hip for 4. Off.
That's big. That's a monster. And it's nearly into the back of the Navarra down there, or actually might be a Colorado. That is a monstrous 6. And he's going to have to go fetch it.
Yep, that's definitely with the wind. So the wind is actually still going away.
Andrew, try and get your mic. Good on you.
Yep.
So big 6. Andrew just getting his mic a little close to mouth so we can hear his dulcet tones and the information and all these career highlights. But that was a career shot, I reckon. Such a small backlift, doesn't he, Farrelly? I mean, there's just, and it all happens in the last moment. He kind of then explodes into it.
They'll rock it. Yeah, he hit a big bomb the other day as well. Very similar. Just punches it. Yeah, he's Not a bad bloke either, I would say.
that helps. He's a good bloke, isn't it?
Fit in beautifully at Wellington. A little bit of a different club, Wellington. In fact,
Yeah, look, you're obviously a big club. You also got a lot of juniors and a strong coaching structure. Is that what kind of drew you to the club?
Well, I left Lindisfarne, what was that, 7, 8 years ago now. So we won a premiership, then we finished rock bottom. So we've got the old wooden spoon, and I was asked to apply for my job again. And Wellington came knocking, and duly accepted. I was there, 6 seasons, and funnily enough, the last season that I coached there, we lost in the semi, and Wellington had pretty high standards, and they said, well, you have to apply for your job, and that's when opportunity came out of Brighton. Brighton started last season in the 3rd grade, and then we won the premiership, and then just travelling and work, and we had a couple of businesses, and we've got 2 kids, and it's just too much. Can't do everything, can't save the world.
No, that's right. So you've got a couple of businesses on the side, Andrew. What are the?
Yeah. So at Yellow Brick Road, Hobart. So we do finance, so mortgage broking, vehicles, all sorts of finance, and then we've got Downton Property, which residential sales. My wife Natalie sort of runs that side, and probably runs everything.
You've got a bit of an empire being created by the sound of it.
Well, it just ties in beautifully, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Rate over's gone here. 3 for 68. There hasn't been a lot of boundaries in the last little while. One explosive shot from Farrelly, but it's been pretty controlled stuff here.
I'm sure this young bloke is. We've got a name on this.
Yeah, we'll get him in a second. I think it's Stuart Rice.
50. Yep.
No. Jai Lester. So Jai Lester from the northern end of the ground. So a little hop and a bit of a skip as I was quite wide on the crease as well. Maybe that's his story, just for a little while, just to knock a few singles around, keep some wickets in hand. I mean, you've got a few hitters looking at this list to come that can give it a bit of a whack here. Burgess and a few others.
Yeah, eats them long. The big red.
Isaac Manson can whack it when he's in form as well.
Yeah, Isaac plays at North Hobart usually. He's just slipped into Wellington for this week. He wasn't in their top grade for the 2020s this weekend, so
right. So you've got you're obviously sharing him at the moment between the 2 clubs, which is a good opportunity, isn't it?
Oh mate, young bloke. More cricket they play, the better.
Now, a little bit of a half appeal, but it looked like it was leg side.
Yeah, I think he plays footy at Glenorchy as well, so there's a bit of crossover there. A lot of current or ex-Glenorchy, footy players, sit around our club, and they're sort of social members and put a bit of money out of the bar, and then in football season we try to get those games as well.
Yep,
which is good.
So a good sort of spirit around that precinct, isn't there?
Very
and
good.
obviously some redevelopment occurring. Is that still on the cards?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Just like anything, you just got to wait for the. I think the money's in the bank. Just got to wait for the actual plans, and I'm pretty sure the plans are drawn. So I'm not sure. Yeah, try to stay out of it. Like, I don't know if people know Edie Street, but it's going to be down the far end near where the RSL is, down that end.
It's a quirky little club rooms at the moment, but it's
different.
It's a little pokey little spot, but it's a nice little atmosphere there, and I think you still do the best player's skull at the end of a game. Is that a?
No, I don't.
Maybe the good sports alcohol policy probably prevented that one.
Yeah, responsible drinking.
Yep.
Like anything, it's in moderation.
So a bit of a close single in the end.
Good spirit there. We've got every year we have a Christmas party, so tomorrow's our sort of family day, I suppose. Jumping castles, face painting, all that. A couple of food vans, and try to get all the kids around there. And that's the thing of why I wanted to go back as well to Wellington from Brighton, was just purely because my son loves it around the club. He's 6 and
potentially a future Wellington player, or a future cricketer maybe.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, he's just started that Woolworths Big Blast.
The Big Blast. Yep.
Yeah, Wellington got a team in that, so he's going okay. He's definitely got his mum's attention span though.
Yeah, I'm making sure by that passive-aggressive comment it's not a great attention span, is that?
Look, if there's a bird flying past, or he'll see it.
Yep.
Yeah, born salesman, I think. Shot. Yep.
Well, it's been a while for a boundary.
Shackles.
Yeah, that will just release a little bit of pressure. We kind of saw in the last game how quickly the runs can go and the momentum that can be gained.
It was a good chase in the end. Like Claremont ended up with 160.
159. Yeah, and when you think about it, I never thought they really got going.
Didn't. No.
And they lacked probably the boundary hitting, but there was very few dot balls, and it was really hard to contain.
You won't lose too many games with T20. There's going to be, Old Beach is going to be very tough, whoever they play. Hopefully it's us, but
Well, at the moment, Andrew, 3 for 73, 9 overs gone. You'll need to keep the ball rolling along here. I kind of think 170 is probably maybe towards par. It feels par, doesn't it, on this ground?
Absolutely.
You know, obviously the outfield's got a little bit of pace about it. There's one particular short boundary. And
we do have some players out, but who knows? You know, like might unearth a young bloke or whatever. So we've just got to bowl straight. We've been bowling pretty well in a group, I suppose, if you want to. We're trying to hunt in packs. And
what is that? What, you know, obviously someone who's played a lot of cricket and had good coaches around you. What can you describe what that means? Well, you know, playing as a team as bowlers.
Just try to give no width, pretty much. So nothing short. Don't try anything too. So
is it a bit of a trust, or is there a bit of a strategy from, you know, you might use your strength or as a bowler? Yeah, absolutely. Just try to bowl as straight as you can and put pressure on for the other guy down the other end, and vice versa. And I mean, 2020, you want to try to dot it up as much as possible. If you can get a maiden out here and there, then it's certainly worth a wicket, isn't it, maiden, in many ways? There's a little bit of a chop down shot.
Is this Walsh?
This is Burgess.
Burgess, okay. There you go.
Oh, sorry, no, it's not Burgess. Sorry, it is.
Is Walsh? Yep. Yeah, not seen
Josh Walsh.
Great young bloke. Does plenty around the community in New Norfolk as well. Had quite a bit of coaching out there through the ACA, you know, in the last couple of years, and so I've seen these young bloke grow up, and a few other young guys. They've got some pretty good talent out there. It's just what do they do next? That's the whole thing.
I mean, at Brighton, obviously, you're going to try and grab hold of some of those players over the journey and bring them in.
Glenorchy, I think.
Glenorchy's into their zone, is it?
Well, they've just been proactive. Glenorchy have gone out to the schools. They've gone out to the club. Yeah, hats off to them. You know, Damien West is. Here we go.
There we go. A couple of people there dressed up. Ned Kelly / Old Beach supporter, and I think that's Father Christmas. I'm not sure I'm really not sure where Ned Kelly's connected to. Any to do with Christmas. But anyway, we'll let it go. That one swung back in and missed time by Farrelly, but still gets a single. Carnival atmosphere.
You know, Glenorchy are doing some good stuff off the field. You know, they've got quite a good setup there. Damien West doing a great job by reports, and yeah, just they're building from the bottom, I suppose.
Does something like Wellington work a little bit with Glenorchy? Obviously, you're playing in different comps, but there's no.
It's weird. It's a weird setup. Yeah, they don't want anything to do with each other, really. I mean, that'd be the most likely, wouldn't it? Just basically go across the road, and you know, any of our good players and want to have a crack at next level, then straight across. But
you'd certainly encourage any young kid to go and play Premier League, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Get involved with a Premier League club.
Mate, what we are is basically just a feeder, I suppose. Like, it's a place to start your cricket and then probably finish your cricket. Or we train one night a week, we play on the weekend. It's not compulsory. Wellington's probably a little bit of a different morsel where we don't pay players unless they do a role, coaching role.
Yep.
So you just love being around the boys.
Walsh with that action of his, which had that front arm up nice and straight. And he gets knocked. He's been pretty good so far.
You can feel a bit of nerves out there. I don't know if you can feel it, but
well, you know what I can feel is that there's a bit of pressure to hit a boundary, and at the moment they're not necessarily losing wickets. So they lost 3 wickets in a bit of a hurry. So wickets fell at 43, 53, and 54 when Nathan Muir got out. Since then, it's been 1 boundary, and it's been controlled. There hasn't necessarily been amazing bowling. It's been steady bowling, good field placements, and
no width.
Probably hasn't been the right ball to whack, have they? Both these players have probably got 1 or 2 big shots in them, and they haven't had necessarily in their ballpark at the moment.
Yeah, I do like the pace coming on, both these guys. They use the pace and, you know, try to go over the boundary.
It's Father Christmas with Ned Kelly. He's about to come past the van.
Here he is.
Guys, Merry Christmas.
Well, another over gone here. And we think Andrew, he's coming in and having a chat to us here on Duff TV. Cricket season, it kind of doesn't feel like cricket weather yet in southern Tassie, and it's been an absolute shocker so far, hasn't it?
Stinker. Beautiful yesterday, I must admit. Out there, and headed down to Salamanca, and everyone festive. I got out of there before people became too festive.
Yeah, no, we want to avoid the festive, festives. As Leicester will continue. And there's some of the sponsors from Wellington. Thanks to those. Without those sponsors, these clubs, you can't really get going. It's 14 to come, Michael. Farrelly on 13. You feel like something's about to happen. There's halfway mark of this run set up. Old Beach are into the grand final already with a comfortable victory over Claremont earlier in the day.
Yep. So I'm not sure, or if you know, but what about after the grand final, I suppose, where to then? It goes into like a statewide pool.
There is a statewide competition, yeah. So
yeah. Well, Wellington was in the grand final last year.
Yeah, they've been in a couple. I remember seeing Wellington.
North Hobart one year.
Yeah, North Hobart one year, and by all accounts, that's still occurring again. So all the sort of
great idea
competitions around the state. TCA up in the north, the northwest. There's a couple of comps up in the northwest coast, and Southern Cricket Association, obviously the Premier League as well, and then the
So our equivalent
NTSA.
competition, like Trevelyan's pretty strong.
Yeah, look.
We played them a couple of years ago, and also Longford Tigers.
The Tigers, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty strong as well.
Great little ground there at Trevelyan.
Oh, how good.
Yeah, great little
Beautiful.
spot. Probably about to be one of the better little setups probably in Tassie for suburban cricket, I reckon.
Beautiful up there.
Yep.
And if it's to live in Launceston, that's where you want to probably look at. Trevelyan or...
So just observing the field at the moment. So we'll just have a little bit of a recap of the field here. So we've got a bit of protection deep on the leg side. So the deep backward square, deep, and also got 2 in front, or probably nearly 3 in front of square. So he's got protection there. But at this moment, there's a bit of half a pill there, but nothing doing.
Yeah, just had to change his game a bit because of this field, I think.
It's just actually probably going to confuse the batter. Potentially, there's 2 options. You can knock easy single, or there's an opportunity to go over off. So it's going to have to be straight. Can go back of a length and even short with this field, but it can't be wide of the off stump, or otherwise it will go the journey.
That's it. That was interesting, that one. It was the length to actually go.
I think it was.
Point.
I actually think he probably was thinking about it, and it just cramped up a little bit. So good bowling at the moment. See if Leicester can keep things going and keep that ball relatively straight. Yeah, there it is. That's a great cricket shot. There's a fielder coming around. He won't cut it off. And the shackles are partly broken with that boundary.
Little punch. Very good.
Such a quick movement into the ball, isn't it? Like just nearly like a tennis player. It explodes off the bat. And a much-needed boundary for Wellington as they creep up towards the 80s.
Yeah, take that.
But it's a really good battle, though, isn't it, Andrew, at the moment? It's got this interesting field, which you do see a lot in T20 cricket in the Big Bash, this type of field where they go, all right, you've got to do something different, which I know obviously players practice hitting the ball in the opposite way or direction of going. That's the ball that needs to be bowled. Yep.
That's what they've done very, very well so far.
Doesn't look like,
change of pace.
Looks like a young lad too. I might have a look at his stats in a moment. But he's holding his nerve in a semi-final up against some very experienced cricketers. Bowling with a bit of an annoying breeze, kind of coming across him and into his face and darting around a bit and trying to make space again at bottom edge.
So the test starts next Thursday. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah,
NCG was a bit of a debacle.
Yeah, it was dreadful, wasn't it?
Last Shield game.
A week and a half ago. I was watching a bit of the vision, and I think I saw Sean Marsh got a couple, and then Stoinis. I think he probably just pushed him off with his bicep, but it was.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
You know what? I'm not an expert curator of any note, but I imagine it's not that easy. It's a fine line at times, and
absolutely.
I think the wicket that was last year for the India game in Perth, where it was actually a bit spicy.
Yep.
We liked that. I think everyone enjoyed that wicket.
Absolutely.
It's a bit flatter this time around, but that sort of lively wicket I think is really liked in Australia. It makes it entertaining. It'll bring New Zealand back in. Bolt coming back for New Zealand.
Bolt, massive in.
Yeah, huge. And, Wagner's having a bit of a run at the moment. Bowled well against England.
Yep, favourite player, that guy. Just gives 100%.
Yeah, you look. And because he's got this really high arm action with the high release, he's actually bounces pretty potent as that's knocked down the ground, or a spot that's been peppered a lot throughout the first game and a bit here.
Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see what the curator does do. If he tries to spice up again, we could have something similar. I don't know if you remember back, I think it was 2000, 2001, Peter Apps was the curator down here at Bell Reef, and we had a similar game where it wasn't watered too much, but it was too dry. Played against WA, and Brad Williams was at his quickest back then, and I think Joe Angel, and shot inside out.
Well, there's another one, but there is a fielder covering it and protecting that boundary out there.
And the game was called off just after lunch on day one.
Okay, so you've experienced that. It's an unusual situation, obviously, in Australia.
Yep.
Seen a test match in the West Indies a few years ago between England and the West Indies, which was called off. Was that Sir Viv Richards Stadium, I think it was. So it's an unusual to see. Was that, so that was up and down, was it?
Oh, yeah. Look, there was one that I think Sean Klingler had faced, and half volley outside off, played and missed, and went one bounce in the side screen.
Well, he's got it again. Can't stop that over Bank Smith's head and down onto Jetty Road.
Good punch that, strong.
Well, I reckon you're right. They've just released a little bit of tension. The anxiety's gone with a couple of boundaries, and that's the first 6 for about half an hour. There's only been 3 6s so far, and that is probably the best we've seen on the replay. That's just heaved. Good old-fashioned slog.
That's a good call, heave. It's not something you hear every day, is it?
No, and I think it's probably needed. He's taking his helmet off, having a bit of relax here, just sucking in as they get the ball back. It may have a little bit of a graze on it, a bit of a bruise on it after smacking into the road. But an excellent shock there from Farrelly, and maybe it's his time to start to wind up, get a couple down the ground, and maybe start to get that inside shot, although it's a dangerous shot with the field at the moment.
Just calling for a little coffee or a cup of tea there.
Yeah, well, the little takeaway store is just down the road. It's nearly rolled down that.
Let's go right, does it?
No, I wouldn't say it's amazing. You're better off at Verve, which is just across the up a bit. That's not a bad little coffee place.
I've heard some good things.
Yeah, and I think they're a sponsor of Old Beach as well. They're actually, what you're watching here on Duff TV, this is not Gardening Australia. Peter Cundall won't pop out. There are some people looking for a cricket ball in that person's front yard. And if they're watching the coverage and they see a couple of cricketers wandering around in their front bushes, they are after a white Kookaburra. Jordan Banks-Smith, he probably needs to get it because it went over his head. He's the last one who saw it. And we may need a new ball. Here we go. They got it? No, not sure.
Probably suit us with a new ball, just quite.
Well, maybe a little bit harder.
A bit harder, that's right. Definitely interesting.
Peter Atz for a while though did have a period of time where he did spice the wicket up at the back end of his tenure with the encouragement maybe of the coach.
Absolutely, we went on a pretty good run there. Remember, we were in the final, and then if New South Wales had lost this game, I reckon it was 2002-3.
3-2, yep.
And yep, we're in it. And then if New South Wales had lost, and they lost like 8 weeks in the last session, Nathan Bracken got out. I can remember it because we'll listen to it. Nathan Bracken got out the last ball of the day. If he stays in, we're in the final. So that was, that would have been a bit of a highlight. I mean, that was probably, myself when I was probably at my best. But we, I think we're in the final in 2001-2 as well, Queensland, Gabba. Righty, Damien Wright was under injury cloud, so they took me up, and unfortunately, he only lasted 1 point something overs.
Really?
Yeah, that's the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it was an injury you took into the game?
Yeah, yep. So that would have been, again, a highlight. But you look back at these things and you got no regrets. So you're pretty lucky to play, and get paid for a game.
Well, there's a lot of good cricketers and a lot of good sports people that come out of the Western Sydney. I know it's obviously many million people out there, Bankstown. I was out at Parramatta recently for work, and you got so many good sporting facilities out there. You've got all the university campuses. It's a really happening part of Australia now, isn't it? It's like, triple the population of Tasmania in a few kilometres, and it just keeps spreading and spreading and spreading.
So there's about 1 million people in Parramatta.
Yeah, it's incredible. Parramatta's like a little hub now. It's the city centre there looks busier than Hobart. So
about to build the tallest building in the Southern Hemisphere.
Oh, are they?
Well, yeah. There's useless stat for those
they always tend to build them in places like Kuala Lumpur or other Singapore, don't they? But so Parramatta's going to have it.
Yeah, I'm going to say
that'll stand out a bit though, wouldn't it? In flat Parramatta.
Yep, yeah, multicultural as well.
Yeah, lovely Indian food out at Parramatta.
Oh, yep.
You've finally got the ball back, and it's back into the hands of the bowler Walsh. He may not want to deliver the ball again because Farrelly might just want to go and stick him over the top into that person's front yard. I didn't actually see the umpires went off to get a new ball, so I do imagine that it's been found. So back to action here. We had a bit of a break. Carmichael 26, Farrelly on 15. We're into the 13th over here, 3-4-92.
Just very Australian, isn't it? Just losing the ball in the front yard.
We played a game, the club I played for, 3rd or 4th grade, a few years ago. Where were we? Up at Collinsvale before they did it up. He's got again, but there's a fielder there, and the fielder takes it. So after all that wait, one goes over Banks-Smith. Are they claiming it? He's saying, thumbs up, I got it. It looked pretty good here from where we were. And Farrelly is gone.
This is young Ash Burgess coming in.
So a big wicket after all that delay. It's a bit like a drinks break, isn't it, Andrew? You have a drinks break, you have a break, and suddenly a wicket falls, a break in concentration, trying to hit a very similar shot again. It may have just got held up in the breeze. Let's see it. Yeah, comfortably taken. No doubt about that. The umpire did just query there, Doran saying he's gone, nah, thumbs up, I got it. Not a bad footballer, this lad either. And so he's probably dobbed a few after catching a couple as Burgess. Probably doesn't have not to be unfair, Burgess doesn't have a range of shots, but when he does hit it, it seems to go a fair distance.
Yeah, he's a clean striker. big boy, like he's strong. He's, he plays his football at Norfolk these days as well.
Yeah.
Tip out merchant in the ruck. Goes
No, he's
right.
had a few good years down there. So you're on Duff TV, second of the 2 T20 semi-finals here in the Kookaburra Southern Cricket Association. There we go. This is a production brought to you by Duff TV up on the screen. Well done, Jarro. Always listening, which to be honest is creepy. But anyway, we're away here. We've got a wicket. We've got Burgess at the crease, the big hitter. Let's see what he could do still with just under 8 overs to go.
Yeah, that's his sort of game where he'll just knock him around for the first couple of balls, and then you'll see him go long. Hopefully, if he bowls anywhere half short, it will go a long way.
Well, that southern end of the ground has been hit a few times with sixes, and there's a long off and long on at the moment.
And they're quite straight.
Yeah, particularly the long on is very straight. We've actually seen a lot of sixes hitting that area, so you might not come into action as.
Yep, it's time to go. It's time to go for myself as well.
All right,
but
no,
thanks
Andrew,
for that.
Andrew, thank you very much. Thanks for your insight, your wisdom, and good luck for the rest of the game, mate.
Pleasure. Cheers.
Andrew Doughton there on Duff TV, coming in and providing some wonderful insight about his cricketing career. And as a cricket nuffy myself, really interesting to hear the lineage of someone like Andrew. And he's playing and loves the Wellington Cricket Club. And at the moment, at 4 for 93, they're on track for a very good score. It could be an excellent score with some Burgess boundaries. Burgess is the player on strike. So they're just trying to work out how many overs he's bowled or how many fielders on the leg side at the moment. It's getting the fields. You see the umpire there just counting away. Well, there's an opportunity to waft it away, and disappointed on his face there, Burgess. Lester's been pretty lively from the northern end of the ground. Got a little bit of whip in his action, got a nice wrist position. Getting the odd ball to move when he first started his spell, but I imagine the ball's a little softer now, so not necessarily in that same movement. As Farrelly works that one, nearly getting it past the fielder's left hand at third man, and he wasn't able to. And a single. Well, the car here, the Duff Mobile, is getting a little bit busier. We've got the young Duffette, Jack, who's finished up school. He's coming in, he's helping us up with the scoring. And looks like he's on the money too, so thanks for coming in, Jack. Oh, well, that would have been out. We'll see that one on the replay again. It was a golden run-out opportunity. Took a couple of steps to get steady. Burgess was 6 or 7 metres wandering down the wicket, ambling down the wicket. No chance of making his ground. Wow, swing from Farrelly. He's disappointed. He thought, well, I should have been able to get a bit of bat on that and nudge it through third man. We'll see it on the replay. Look, didn't get it. Look at that. That's a little bit of the sign of the frustration at the moment. It's been quality bowling from New Norfolk. However, he gets it this time. It was waiting for it. He nearly got one pass early in the over. This time he does get it past. And Stuart Rice was unable to get around as that flew past. We've seen quite a few boundaries down there. It's not the longest. It's not the shortest, though. But with a little bit of pace from the ball of Leicester. It's found a boundary. 100 nearly up. 14th over. Farrelly 20. Burgess on 3. All those that are tuning in and not watching, we'll give you the score now and again. case you're not watching the actual coverage, just listening, is going across the crease. The fielder is out there now, though. So by having that third man down on the fence, it does mean they've had to manipulate their field. That's the overdone for Leicester. And that's Leicester's third. We'll just double check that one, if that's his third or fourth over. I think it's his third, so he's got 3 done. So just to go back, Wishart just the 1 over. Rollins has got a couple, a little bit expensive. Drew was really good, 4 overs, 1 for 28. In fact, he actually got 2 for 28. Banksmith with a couple. Imagine he'll come on and bowl again. And Walsh with a couple. And he also got a wicket. So Farrelly on strike. The wind's still coming here. Martin Duffy still holding on up in the scissor lift. We're holding on here in the commentary position as Farrelly feel that he's starting to think boundaries. There is a shot. It's wide. It's 6. And Banksmith crashes into the net. We'll see this again. Inside out. He enjoys it. It's one of his favourite shots. He's actually hit him quite straight. And Banksmith nearly knocking over the fence. Burgess now back on strike. So Farrelly had a player for that in-out shot, but he's quite square. Had an extra cover on the fence, and mid-off, who's quite straight. And Burgess has the same field. No third man. So can he just squeeze one past the left hand? The man inside, and bowled him. Hasn't squeezed past, it's squeezed through. And Walsh gets a wicket. It's a big one too. Burgess can hit some long bombs. We'll see here a full delivery. And you do not need a bail to indicate that's a wicket. As the ball crushes in to the leg stump, knocks it backwards, and Burgess strolls off. All right, the ponytail looking like popping out the back of Isaac Manson's helmet. Yes, number 74. Quite a useful cricketer. He likes to slog to leg. And I use the word slog because he'll clear his front leg out and try and hit it over through a straightish mid-wicket. Hits the ball quite well through cover. So I actually think the short ball's not a bad option here for Walsh. Doesn't have the right field for a short ball though, because third man and fine leg are both up inside the circle, so it's forcing Walsh. He's going to have to bowl straight and full. But I actually think maybe a few shorter ones just early on to Manson. Really got to protect the field, and Farrelly is now the #1 man for Wellington. If they want to post a 150 type score, which is probably going to be a little below par, they certainly can get to 160, 170 with a few lusty blows. Richard Graham's the player at third man inside the circle. He's had a few balls come left and right of him. He's going to have to do his work because that could be a key position. Once again, Farrelly coming down the wicket, running at the bowler. He's a strategy. His get-out shot is straight over, straight cover. He's hit a couple. But also he's doesn't mind running at the bowler to try and just mix up his lengths. The end of the over, and that's Walsh. He's done his 4 overs. Leicester will continue from this bottom end, so he'll bowl out as well. We're 2/3, nearly 3/4 and 3/4 of the way through this first innings here in the second of the two T20 semi-finals. Good little crowd building up here. They're huddled a little under some shade just to our left, and a few on the very small micro hill here at Old Beach. And the wind gusting and coming through, and it really hasn't eased up for any considerable part of time. As constantly look out and see west away that cut the umpire trying to keep his hat on. So Farrelly hunched in his stance, shoulders rolled. Third man is up. They're going to get a single here and an overthrow. That's a little sloppy. And that's because all the players on that side of the field are all deep. Just looking before, we might just keep an eye on that field to see if he's keen, because if you don't do a third man, then you've got to drag another player on from the leg. And that's there's some risk in that, but I think there's some reward if you can just cut it down. And now the third man does go into play. So 4 players are in the ring, outside the ring at the moment. Isaac Manson just getting himself into this little innings. It's a really critical one. It's a critical partnership. At 5 down, another wicket, and things could really seep out of this little run set. His job is probably just to get Farrelly on strike, and Farrelly's job is to hit the fence. He's trying. He can. But some good bowling from this young New Norfolk attack has just prevented him getting any momentum through his innings. Just a little bit limited at backward at square, and there he goes. He's kind of practicing a shot, Farrelly, to try and hit it backward at square behind the umpire. There's a big gap there. There's a fielder on the square leg fence deep. It's not a bad little spot to protect, because it's possibly the longest boundary. Third man is in play. I think that's a good move, because that's an easy shot for him to play, and it's an easy one if there's no fielder there and he gets it wide. And on that occasion, you can see the benefit of it. It's a single, and it allows the bowler to bowl back of a length and either bowl it fairly straight or even outside off. He's going to have that protection. He's also got a point inside the ring, mid off, mid on. Might be a couple here. They're thinking about it, and Manson will have to hurry. To slide his bat in the end, and made his ground pretty comfortable just for a moment as he was turning. This arm is strong. Could have put him under a bit of pressure. It's the overdone. Farrelly 31. Manson is away on 4, dealing in singles at the moment, although there was one little push for 2. So let's see what Farrelly's got. No third man. Well, no third man outside the ring. There's a chance of a run out here. And I reckon Isaac Manson may have given up. He actually had the bat in the air, didn't even bother grounding it. And he looked like he would have been run out at the bowlers at the batter's end. See that? So he pushed in. It was a good bit of fielding. Yeah. May have been home in the end. So will Manson try to go down the ground through that straight mid-wicket area? Yes, exactly where he's trying. There's a little invitation there. Is it going to be removed though? Yeah, they're going to put a fielder back. So they put another fielder, I reckon, exactly where he was trying to hit that last delivery. And there's a player out at deep cover. And he finds it. All right, so Farrelly gets his field now. Has to be, well, it can be outside off with this field, but it can't be too full. Needs to be relatively straight. Not a bad spot. Could be a run here. They're going to get an extra run. No, he scored him. No, just a little bit of miscommunication there. So Walsh in the back end of his spell. Well, he was coming. He couldn't get it to the off. He then tried to switch and hit it to the leg. And all this resulted is his leg stump getting whacked. So Farrelly gone. Wellington just losing a little bit of momentum. The wind just being seeped out of their cricketing balloon at the moment. It's a good length. Talked about kind of tramping him up. Back of a length was also still good with his field. And a massive wicket. Sean Farrelly's on his way. And Thomas Ross is coming out to bat. He's going to join Manson. And the runs will need to start to flow. Might get another replay of that one again, Jarrow, of the last wicket. Just the way he cramped him up. It's a clever bit of bowling, and it was built up over a period of time. There wasn't an opportunity to hit and clear his front leg and get it over the offside. It was crafty cricket. He's looking for 2 in a row, and Doran said no. That's the end of the over. Fine over. A wicket in it. Sean Farrelly was the one that had to leave the arena after his leg stump was smacked into by the Kookaburra ball. And here is the replay. So just look. So there'd been a build-up of about 15 balls where no major scoring shot. Constantly looking for the off. You see how it cramped him up. Tried to find some room, well, so he ended up on the leg. He was trying to get that room. He couldn't get it to the off space. He then tried to switch and hit it to the leg, and the ball didn't. And all this resulted is his leg stump getting whacked. Thanks, Smith will continue. So Farrelly gone. Isaac Manson. Wellington just losing a little bit of momentum. The wind just being seeped out of their So Ross and Manson in at the moment. Ross had a pretty good couple of weeks. A few scores in the 50-over competition. Thanks, Smith, that athletic run-up. Brilliant fielding. So Ross is taking guard now. It's a really quirky leg side field on the fence at the moment. There's 2 players within about 15 metres of each other. One forward a square and one a fairly straight deep mid wicket. And he's ended up gliding it in through the 3rd man region for a single. Look out, Jetty Road. Look out, house number 43. Smacked into the tarmac. There for launch off. That was a beauty. Let's see this one again. started to go leg side and then wound up. And we've mentioned he wants to hit there, and there was no ground in the Southern Cricket Association, which was being able to keep that ball in play. That was a beauty, and Jarro's is pointing out where it's gone on the screen. I didn't see it, mate. Did it hit that van? We've had a few balls that had to be retrieved so far, and we've got a new one. A new second-hand one. There's a slight oxymoron. So it'll be away again as Isaac Manson teeing off with a big mid-wicket smash. I'll tell you what, he's shaping up again, and that's good bowling from Bank Smith. Outside off stump's the way to go, and it's very difficult to hit that one back over mid-wicket. He's probably better off, Manson, at the moment to try and hit that straight. There's a lot of room straight down the ground. It's kind of a complicated field at the moment for Bank Smith to bowl to, because he can't bowl too straight, but in saying that, unless he hits straight, Manson, then it probably doesn't matter. Even the way his hands are on the bat, Manson, it looks like it's going to be difficult for him to hit through the offside. Now he hits straight. Should be cut off, though. A bit more energy in the field at the moment from New Norfolk. They've been pretty good for most of the game. I would say a relatively sloppy start to the two T20 semi-finals, particularly from Claremont. And even Old Beach are a little sloppy in the field with quite a few misfields. Good bowling again. Excellent follow-up. I mean, he got hit for 1-6 in that over, Bank Smith, and he's followed up with a couple of really good deliveries, pretty much in the right spot, so he made the alteration. And frustration for Manson. He looks like he's got the one big shot. It's a good one if he can keep hitting them, but it's going to take some manipulation of his feet to get it back to there again if the bowling is good. So Wishart might change things up a little bit, bowling some of his spinners. Well, he's gone again with as much success as the last one. And was enjoyed by the crowd here as well. Let's see it again. Wishart trying to throw this one in. Just came down the wicket. And a very neat shot. Certainly looking at that one spot, Wishart. Did it go into the car? Is that what was he? I'm trying to watch the car. It's gone over the top. It's down the ground. It could be another boundary. It is. So Ross into the action. So things have lifted here. A couple of boundaries, a couple of big sixes from Manson with the light blue cap on. Wishart's over's done. He's had a couple of good innings so far this season, a half century in the 50-over game a few weeks back. So recap of this inning so far. Nathan Webb, Dilgar, good start from them, 30 and 15 apiece with 8 boundaries, including 2 sixes. Farrelly then came in at 3, knocked the ball around for his 32. It was out a little while ago. Muir got rolled pretty early. Carmichael hit a couple of big shots for 26. Bank Smith to continue. Well, nearly fielder nearly went the wrong way then, but managed to hold his feet. And now we're seeing Isaac Manson with 2 massive leg side sixes. Downton is in next. Curran and Drake still to play here for Wellington. But it is swing. It's swing and swing away in the last over of this first innings of the second T20 SCA Grand semi-finals. And this is good from Bank Smith. And I don't mind Manson going, well, I've got 1 shot and it's very successful, but maybe he needs to make sure he keeps scoring because Ross at the other end looks capable as well. That's down towards us. It's going to get over the fielder. Just. Yeah, they're going to come back for a second. Just lacking a little bit of energy out of that throw. And 2 runs was the result. So that's a good result if Isaac Mance can launch another one to the leg side. Don't mind it. He's trying to go down the ground. That's good stuff. Really good bowling here from Bank Smith in these last couple of overs. There you go. I talked about maybe a short ball's not a bad option. There's some risk in it with the field at the moment. But happily, with a bit of pace through there, worked out okay. That's over the top. Should be out. Somehow it's been spilt. And a very disappointed result there. Bank Smith to be upset with that one, and they also got a couple. Looked like a relatively easy catch. The sun probably wouldn't have been a factor yet. It's burst through the fingers. Really difficult to move that far across to the offside and try and smack it. And that should be it. It's the end of the innings. The innings break here. It's a competitive total, maybe about 15 to 20 short of what they would have liked. 6 for 147. Manson trying to swing the last couple of deliveries. Had some success. Missed a couple. It's been a fine performance from the bowlers from New Norfolk. Wishart with a couple of overs. He bowled the second last over, 2 overs for 24. Rowland's got a little bit of stick. I still thought he bowled okay, 2 overs, none for 21. Drew was good, 4 overs. He only made it, 2 for 28. Bank Smith came in at the end, got a wicket, 1 for 23 from his 4. Lester was good as well, 4 overs for 24. And Walsh, the main wicket taker, took him on, got the big scalps, 4 overs, 3 for 25. And it was Carmichael, Farrelly, the 2 really big wickets. The winner today, got Burgess early, but those 2 will be playing in the grand final. Farrelly was a massive wicket. He got him bowled where he worked him over. With Dilgar cramped him up down the ground for the first hit the off, and it was a massive wicket just at a time when you thought Wellington were about to get going. As you see some highlights on the screen, we've got a little short break here. And we're going to see the chase down. 148 is the chase for New Norfolk. What can they do? And we'll have a break here on Dove TV. Don't go anywhere. We've got the second half of this second semi-final coming up. And then Old Beach are waiting patiently for the winner of this game to take on the grand final. Bye for now. Well, that's a bad bowl. And the result is a car getting whacked. It skimmed off the top of the fence. It smacked into a vehicle over there. Could be another. It's getting peppered at the moment, that offside boundary, just forward and backward a point. So 5 boundaries so far that have reached the fence and a couple that have gone over from Webb. 26 from 13 deliveries. Dilgar, the left-hander. It's in the air. Out. First down. Drew gets the wicket. The left-hand side on leg side wafts and a couple through the off as well. Well, there's that one through the off. In and out. I reckon that's gone all the way. Yep, no, it was only a boundary in the end, only a 4-for. There's the intent from Farrelly. That's in the air. There's a fielder coming in. Now he's got to go back. He's completely misjudged it. And he's managed to keep it in. But he could say, Seb Wishart, he made a bit of a meal of that. Misjudged it in the breeze.
They've won, yeah, so we're just going to keep going. But Webb is in fine touch.
Oh, he's looking good, Nick, and he's obviously a quality batter. There's Bank Smith now. That one is a wicket. So out of nowhere, a second one, and then a first and a second, and a couple of ones. That's Josh Rowlands, who's had a bit of an iffy start with the ball. He's managed to take a catch.
Always.
This end, and that's out. Well, a couple of wickets have gone from trying to whack the ball over the infield and unable to get the loft on it. And unfortunately, the third wicket falls down here for Wellington. It's just stopped a little bit of good momentum they had from their openers.
Is that the third wicket since I've been in here?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh.
That's big. That's a monster. And it's nearly into the back of the Navara down there, or actually might be a Colorado. That is a monstrous 6. And he's going to have to go fetch it.
Yep, that's definitely with the wind. So the wind is actually still going away.
Andrew, try and get your mic. Good on you.
Yep.
So just have a little bit of a recap of the field here. So we've got a bit of protection deep on the leg side. So the deep backward square, deep, and also got 2 in front, or probably nearly 3 in front of square. So he's got protection there. But at this moment, there's a bit of half a pill there. But that's a great cricket shot. There's a fielder coming around. He won't cut it off. And the shackles are partly broken with that boundary.
Little punch. Very good.
Such a quick movement into the ball, isn't it? Like just nearly like a tennis player. It explodes off the bat. And a much-needed boundary for Wellington as they creep up towards the 80s.
One that I think Sean Klingmeth have faced. And half volley outside off. Played and missed and went one bounce in the side screen.
Well, he's got it again. Can't stop that. Over Bank Smith's head and down onto Jetty Road.
Good punch that. Strong.
Well, I reckon you're right. They've just released a little bit of tension. The anxiety's gone. Where were we up at Collinsvale before they did it up?
Oh,
He's got again, but there's a fielder there, and the fielder takes it. So after all that weight, one goes over Bank Smith. Are they claiming it? He's saying, thumbs up, I got it. It looked pretty good here from where we were. And Farrelly is gone.
This is young Ash Burgess.
Mobile is getting a little bit busier. We've got the young Duffett, Jack, who's finished up school. He's coming in, he's helping us up with the scoring. And looks like he's on the money too, so thanks for coming in, Jack. Oh, well, that would have been out. Waiting for it. He nearly got one pass early in the over, and this time he does get it past. And Stuart Rice was unable to get around as that flew past. We've seen quite a few boundaries down there. It's not the longest. It's not the shortest, though. But with a little bit of pace from the ball of Leicester. Duffy still holding on up in the scissor lift. We're holding on here in the commentary position as Farrelly feel that he's starting to think boundaries. There is a shot. It's wide. It's 6. And Bank Smith crashes into the net. Square at an extra cover on the fence, and mid-off, who's quite straight. And Burgess has the same field. No third man. So can he just squeeze one past the left hand? The man inside and bowled him. Hasn't squeezed past, it's squeezed through. Well, it was coming. He couldn't get it to the off. He then tried to switch and hit it to the leg. Look out, Jetty Road. Look out, house number 43. Smacked into the tarmac. There for launch off of his spinners. Well, he's gone again with as much success as the last one. And was enjoyed by the crowd here as well.
You want first three?
Yep.
Blowing up now.
Action. Welcome back here. Duff TV coverage, second innings here. That's not a bad start. It's going to be a bit of work on the boundary line to get around and cut that one off. And there's one just past the edge, so Danton into his work. I should say Downton. You had him in the commentary position only moments ago. And that traditional whippy action of his, he was saying he has to get himself through the season and not necessarily played more than 10 games. There's a little bit of work to come back. That could be out. A huge wicket, a run out, a surprise. And after a bit of a lacklustre couple of deliveries, somehow there's a wicket down and a very disappointed batter coming off the ground. It's a shake of the head, some confusion out in the middle.
Ain't even his call, isn't it?
And we'll just see it. So hits probably a run, or yeah, some indecision in the end. You can see his bat clearly out. He nearly did a whole run then, Drew, and Hoggett at the other end just stood there. No, at no stage maybe did he say yes. And there you go, bat was in the air. Clearly the celebrations from Wellington as they get there first. So new batter, Heron in. Very crafty, clever sportsman. And what he's got to contend with at the moment for the field is a deep backward point as a slip in play. And there's deep backward square. So they're the two players outside the circle. Slip is the catcher, and the rest is predominantly a ring field with a mid-wicket relatively straight. They might try two here. Well, we've seen a run out. Hoggett's going to get on his bike a little bit. He does, and Heron does as well, and they get through for a couple of leg byes. .148 is the target. And you'd imagine Norfolk were going with a lot of confidence that they can chase this down. Already seen 215 scored by Old Beach in the first match. There's a slight wobbly over from Downton with his left armers. Got the last couple on the money though. His first over's done. 1 for 5, and that run out again. Very costly. There's Aaron Drew, shook his head, walking back to the pavilion, extremely disappointed. But he had to leave and his day's ended. Well, certainly in this match anyway, still might have a grand final to play. Old Beach sitting back, relaxed. I've seen a few of the players walk past. They're chatting to family and friends around the ground, enjoying the slightly warmer conditions, around 22 degrees, maybe slightly more, maybe 23 at the moment. So it's pretty much hit the maximum. It's a bit of a breeze. It's just keeping things a fraction cooler. And Farrelly, who hit a neat 31, he's going to now come on and bowl. So he's got that nice loopy run up and a very round arm action. Very similar to Kobe Phillips, so I think it's 12th man today. He's the sub, the super sub. Got some wickets in this corresponding fixture last year. Now there's an appeal. He's given him out. Well, for a few moments, it wasn't even that audacious appeal. And 2 down, and just like the last game where Claremont came out, they lost 2 wickets really early. A run out and now a stumping. A really sloppy start. Heron leans on his bat. Bodoth, openers are now back into pavilion. And Bank Smith's into the crease. So Hogger departs, stumped. Farrelly, the bowler. Just got a replay on that run out, and we might have another little look at that stumping as well, G-Funk. People probably think there's 2 people. I sometimes call you Jerry, other times G-Funk. We'll just stick to Jerry. Although you do the work of 2 people. Because Bank Smith, who bowled those over number 18 and over number 20, and really dragged the game back. Farrelly into the new batter. Bit of Greg Matthews about Sean Farrelly, just keeping a cap on. Pretty casual. There's that quicker one which she throws, which is relatively easy to disguise with that round arm action. And they've just heaped to cool things down a little bit after what I'd say is a pretty disastrous start. A running and a stumping. 2 ways that really frustrate a batter. Although sometimes with a stumping you're often being deceived by some good bowling. I just felt that it was very close and Doran took some time to make the decision. He seemed fairly comfortable with it. The batter walked off without showing too many signs of being frustrated. That's an over. Has gone and a wicket. 2 for 5. And we'll just see that replay now. So this is the stumping. And it's a little glary, so it's probably not 100%. And his back foot looked literally must have just slid marginally out of the crease. And what made it easy is that it just stood there. I mean, I shouldn't say it stood there. There's Downton to continue with a Yorker and the hands go up from Nathan Muir, the keeper captain, as he thought that might have been targeting Bank Smith, or I should say Heron stumps. A little high maybe, that was my initial reaction. I'm back on here in the commentary position. It's having a conversation. Was that, I'm trying to read the words of Doran there. I think high was the word. May have even got him outside the line. It's really hard probably to tell from our angle, how close it was, but Downton did appeal with some enthusiasm. Slip in place at about 2.5, and in fact, it's nudged to the left-hand side of that slipper. So the plan of attack, 148. It has to be steady as she goes for the next couple of overs as they reassess. As we're trying to get an indication of the weather, the wind is still playing a little bit of havoc here for Martin Duffy, but it's a little better than it was an hour and a half ago, where it peaked at the kind of the start and this game and the end of the last. A gully comes into play, and the straight bat of Bank Smith. So just under 7.5, 7.35 is the run rate that's going to be required for the start of the innings. It's gone up a little bit since then. 8's okay, 8.5's probably okay. It gets up to 9 in a semi-final. Some crafty Muir captaincy, some consistent bowling. Could be a challenge here for New Norfolk if they don't get a little bit of momentum in these first 5 overs. There's an opportunity, there's an attempt. It's heading out to the mid-wicket fence. The chase is on. And in the end, it slows up the hill. I think Bank Smith really wanted to get a bit more momentum through that one. It's the end of the over, 3 down. Couple of wickets. And the scoreboard yet to hit double figures. So we're already up to 8.2 and over. We'll keep an eye on that run rate. Looks like Farrelly will continue. Rowan Heron has man just deep mid-wicket fence. I should say, probably a little, yeah, deep mid-wicket we'll call that. I'll stick my head out the van at a deep point. And he's got down. Just going to get over the infield. It's a bit of a spot. The hit was sent a few balls just land into some real estate around that area, just kind of around to the right from the club rooms here at Old Beach Oval. And it is probably the longest from that end, the longest boundary. That's edged, brilliantly stopped. Looks like Doughton to his right, but it still didn't stop it going to the fence. He deflected off his right hand, but it's still got enough momentum to race away for a boundary. So a handy boundary, 14 on the board. And the large frame of Andrew Doughton, 42 years of age, couldn't quite stop that boundary. A little bit of leeway there for that one from Farrelly, maybe on the edge. It did keep going past the left hand off stump, so maybe a little bit of leeway. Faster one, there's that quicker ball, and it's well taken by the keeper. Another past the outside edge on this occasion. It was a delivery that was a little slower. So some crafty bowling here from Farrelly. He's bringing mid-wicket up. Well, he wants another player on the outside. I think it's a good option for Heron. I think he's going to whack it across to the leg at this stage. He's getting point to go around about 15 metres. He's got another player coming to the offside. He's probably going to come into more of a sort of a fairly straight cover. Around 10, 12 metres from the bat. Another delivery. And the umpire quirkily raises his arm to indicate it's the end of the over. 4 down. 14 on the board, 2 wickets in the bag. Another 8 to get. And over 8 and over required. So choosing to go round the wicket, Downton. Banks Smith just trying to get a bit of pace off a Downton delivery, which is really forward, no success. Tough going here for New Norfolk. Banks Smith just trying to get some bat on ball and force it to the offside. Maybe his best option is just to push it into a gap and get up the other end just for a little while. It's putting more pressure on himself, putting pressure on his team and giving some confidence to the bowler. Just shorter run up then, Downton. Now that's some runs. 4 of them. And as per usual, it's found a hole in the fence and's raced out onto the road. You see the replay. There's a big swing of the bat from Banks Smith. He's keen to get a bit of a hurry on. Oh, that's bounced over the top of the field, and that's going to find the fence. Well, that's like you see that at the maybe on a turf wicket where you hit the ball into the other wickets parallel to the pitch you're playing on, and it bounces over the infield and away for 4. Well, it's bounced over the infield. It's actually bounced off the wicket, so off the cricket pitch itself. A couple of years old, I think, this turf here at Old Beach. Andrew Downton was saying it's sort of settled down a little bit, as they tend to do. Bit of science behind the base these days. That's better from Banks Smith, just trying to push in. Didn't find the gap, but his boundary off that over. He's on 10. Heron on 7. And they're just steadying the ship riding its way a little bit after a very shaky start. There was a couple of wickets early. Banks Smith and Heron in, steadying it for New Norfolk as we... What's that hill there? That is Mount Direction, is it? Good walk up there, isn't there, Gero? Another one past the outside edge of Heron's bat. Such an experienced cricketer, stalwart out at New Norfolk. Such an accomplished player. And he'll do that. That's just smart because he's having some troubles against Farrelly at the moment. 3, maybe even 4 playing misses outside ad off stump. Putting pressure on himself. He just needed to knock a single, get to the other end. Banks Smith, he may look to try and take on the straight boundary here. He's had 1 success in the last over. Will he have the guts, I suppose, to do it again against Farrelly. Will he throw a quick one in? There we go. Flatter and faster. You may even try that again or float this one up. So there's the field. So down the ground's a good option. Just needs to go to the offside, not the on, and that's a single only. Well, carbon copy of 5 deliveries here. Farrelly bowling. Rowan, Heron missing. Now there's another player coming to the offside. It's probably not the biggest boundary hitter, either of these players. Go up to 2 wickets lost. It's probably okay. As now he goes, but there's a fielder protecting that boundary. So you can hear the wind just buffeting the effects mic, buffeting the van. We are tucked away here at the northern end of the ground between the club rooms and some fences, and the nets aren't too far away, but you can really hear the buffeting. There's Cadbury's. We're getting the whole sights of the northern suburbs from Mr. Martin Duffy. Maybe some bird watching, bit of twittering, Martin. Can we find some birds of the feathered variety? So we've got a change here. Is the captain going through the paces? And we thought it wouldn't be too long till Braden Drake came into the action for Wellington. He's going to be delivering the ball from a bit of a height. He does have a little bit of extra pace. It surprised him now and again, I reckon, Drake, how much little bit of speed he can generate from that high arm action. Yeah, it's on the money. Very difficult to score when you're ramming it in, and also with the field now set out a little bit. They can defend here for a period of time. Wellington, keep things quiet. They don't actually necessarily need to take a wicket the next couple of overs. They can just keep things very steady. Try and protect the boundary straight. Keep these 2 players in for a while, and it might sort of make it a very difficult end chase. So Drake's got some protection down the ground. Banksmith's already hit a couple there. He's trying to go again. So long off and long on. And there's a fielder out on the offside sweeping. Drew deep cover point, or even deep extra cover. And some protection deep on the leg as well. Just in front of a car which got whacked. A few little moments ago, right on the bonnet. Maybe he's out there to protect. Maybe the driver said, I'll pay you some money if you can just protect my car. Might be an idea to move it. Chance of a 2. They've communicated. We've already seen one run out. We've seen a couple other close calls as well. And they decide on the side of caution. And just a single. So the players have got to swap over as it brings the left-handed Heron on strike. So we have 2 players coming to that offside field and 3 defending on the fence and the offside. This has to be fairly back of a length. Offside, can't be too straight. Bowled him! Well, it was straight. It was very straight. Middle stump. Says Toodle Pip. And Braden Drake gets his first scalp. And on his way is Rowan Heron. That's a massive wicket. Heron was nudging them around. Just keeping things a little controlled. Not necessarily finding the rope that often. A lot of experience, a lot of intellectual property. He's just left the field. Now, Stuart Rice is the new batter. Really feel that some boundaries are required here. And there's a replay. It was another full delivery. Right up there, and just the temptation for Heron to get one of those boundaries due to the fact they've been dragged back and haven't really got going at any stage. They've got to 28. We're in the 7th over. Are now behind the 8 ball. Now changing direction. Round the wicket. That's maybe not his best delivery. Not sure the change of direction here from Drake. He last couple of balls ago was right on the money. Third man's open, so he can't bowl too much offside. He's got to keep it middle and leg. Can't bowl too short either. Can't bowl there. Cannot bowl there. 6. And I think he might have mucked his field up. Or maybe that's just an excuse from the bowler. So 6 to end the over. It kicked off with a wicket though. Just see how easy it is with this field setting. That short boundary. It wasn't even that short. It was just above the hip. And a swivel pull to some effect. And there's some fans up there enjoying it from their little vantage position. A little bit of elevation. Side on to the action. So Farrelly to continue. So Farrelly into his final over. 3 overs, 1 made, 1 for 9. It's been a starring performance with the ball, a very solid performance with the bat. He was out late in the innings for Wellington, trying to accelerate towards the end. He's got Banksmith to contend with, which I think his strategy might be knock it around. Rice will have to play his part. Well, we've seen a little bit already. That's a full toss, and you can see Banksmith's hands in his eyes up to the heavens thinking, why didn't I try and whack that away to leg? Cross-patted shot is often the best way to hit full deliveries, and I think that's a good lead. That quicker one, there's not a discernible change to his action or run-up. just the arm is slightly more round than it is when he's bowling those deliveries which are more off pace. There's that quicker one again, and there's that telltale rounder arm action. Knocked down the ground. So that's the go for Bank Smith. And maybe Rice's job is to whack the ball over the rope. It is needed. And is he the person to do it? Mostly second grade so far. Stuart Rice so far this season. Been around for a while. That is a 6. I'll have to get another look at that again. That was a beauty. The wind is picking up again. It's kind of frustrating, really. It's a good crowd, though, here. I don't think a much bigger crowd than last year's by the look of it, although we had a lot more people in cars last year at Cambridge. Drake to Bank Smith. Just mentioning Rice, I'm pretty sure he's hit a triple century in a one-day game. I'm going to find the stat on that. I'm sure he's hit a triple century, which is just ridiculous in any form of cricket at any grade in a 50-over match. Bank Smith's upright, bat raised. An inquiry to the umpire from Drake. Here we go. Second grade, Norfolk versus McKillop. Rowan Heron played in that game. Rice, 324 not out. 38 sixes. I don't reckon I've hit 38 sixes in my career. And that's knocked into the leg, no run. The next top scorer was Maddox with 60, not a bad player. A few players took some stick. 492 was a score on that day. That was Tyndall Park or Tyndall Park down in Norfolk. It's not the smallest crowd either. Must have been a fast outfield. That day is Drake grabs the ball, and it is ever the case. The pantomime of the fast bowler, he's nearly compelled to pretend or even throw it back, as we saw Southey in the first Test match peg it back at the batter after he hit it to him. This is part of the makeup. It's part of the contract as a fast bowler. Although Shane Warne used to do it a lot as a spin bowler. This is good bowling, Drake, though. He's not giving a lot of space, not allowing the batters to have any hitting area. Bank Smith just feels frustrated at the moment. He's on 13. Once again, delivery that's full, and the batter's unable to make any contact on it at all. That's the end of a great over. Drake is doing the job for his captain. And I think we need some more boundaries from Rice. That's just missed. Great bit of camera angle there from Martin Duffy. So Rice on 12, he's been there for 4 deliveries. He's hit 2 sixes. 2 scoring shots off his 4 deliveries. Bank Smith's 14 of 27. Couple of boundaries to him. Downton, Farrelly, Drake. Downton's got an over to go. You imagine I hold him maybe either to get a wicket or to find a bowl the last over. It's tight with all of the experiences Farrelly in doing the fielding. So Dilgar now into the attack. Well, that's been timed nicely. Timed extremely well and into the net. And I can tell you what, there was a taxi heading down Jetty Road and he was directly in the path of that ball. Fortunately, there was a fence in the way. So Bank Smith. And let's see this one on the replay. Down on one knee, swinging it away backward to square. Great cricket shot. Oh, just and ricocheting off Downton hands again. Copping a battering at the moment. That's the second one that smacked into his hands. Prevents a couple. A little tempted there for Rice. He decided to leave it. That's the end of the over. And let's see this one again. So this is the catch opportunity. It had some force, some power, and it smacked through the hands of Andrew Downton. And only a single, so 3 for 150. We're at the halfway mark. 3 for 50, 150. They would have won. So we can easily do that, Mass. 9.8 required. And it's going to have to be Bank Smith and Rice to do a lot of the work. So they're only going at 5 and over. Been a lot of dot balls, and there's another one. A lot of overs where, and if we look back at the batting card at the moment, Drew faced 4 balls for his 2. Hoggett didn't score off his 2 balls. He was stumped. Heron 70 balls for his 10. Bank Smith 27 balls for his 14. So all those players worse than a run of ball scoring. Whereas if you look at the last match, if someone had faced 27 deliveries, and Bank Smith can currently catch up here potentially, they were scoring at around about 45 to 50. So he's got a plan here, Stuart Rice, and that's to hit 6s. Exactly what they need. A few more. Now, Bank Smith, where's he going to go? Straight's not an option. Square of the wicket's got some danger on the leg side. Feel like he wants to hit sort of straightish mid-wicket, and that's where he's gone. Best bet maybe is to get up the other end, I think, at the moment against Drake. Work a single, work the field for 15 minutes, and maybe Rice can smack a couple of boundaries and Bank Smith can be in at the end. And then he can try and launch one of the other bowlers, because Drake is causing some problems. It's due to his trajectory. There's a quick single. That would have been out. So that was literally just hit and run and hope they don't hit the stumps. And let's get the field change. Nice one out of pick up. Yep, given up. Just trundled down the other end. Same field. I reckon the same ball. Full. Maybe needs to make some room. Can't find it. This is a fantastic spell from Braden Drake. An outstanding over, but an outstanding spell from him. Takes his cap. There's a lot of energy expelled in a T20 game compared to the short, even though it's a short format. There's a lot of intensity about it, and it feels kind of intense watching it at times. And in Norfolk, got some considerable mountain direction in front of us. We had a shot of that before. Well, it's more like Mount Wellington at the moment. They don't want to get it anywhere near Mount Ossa, Mount Kosciuszko, which I think is not the correct pronunciation. In the air, over the field. Work to be done. Farrelly does a great job of keeping that one in. So Phil Curran's first delivery attacked. And you'll see this Farrelly effort. Look at the energy and effort from Farrelly. Gets his left-hand fingers onto it and prevents that from another 2 runs. That's edge, that's 4. Well, they'll get him how they can at the moment. Curran will be a little frustrated, but he can't do much about an edge. And you're never going to have a fielder there in a T20 game after 10 overs. So Wishart and Graham to come. Wishart's probably not a bad option. Good length, and Dilgar's decided to come up. I should say Nathan Muir's decided to come up and stand up to the stumps, to the medium pace of Curran. Bank Smith staying in his crease. Yeah, I just think Wishart, imagine he'd be the next player in. Well, that's a beauty. Happy days. Well, that'll relieve a bit of pressure, and we see a replay here from a Rice 6. That was creamed. That's out towards the other hill area into a bunch of native trees. So hopefully they've got it back. So great shot, needed boundary. He's going to get to the off, but there's a fielder there out for a second. It looked like it was going past, but solid fielding. End of the over. Not a bad one there with a 6 and another boundary nicked through the slips. Geez, he's bowled a lot of deliveries. jamming up the batter. Rice digging that one out of his crease line and around near his feet. This is his last over though, Drake. 3 overs, 1 for 14. Dilgar just the 1 over. Curran's into his work. That's the hitting area. That's a beauty. And another car in danger. Go and get your keys, people, and move them. Just back another 10 metres. You can tell there's a couple of cars that are around about 10 metres behind them. They're the ones that maybe got in first. But they're in a bit of danger, hopefully, for those cars there. They get missed, but Vinnie Norfolk, they want Stuart Rice to keep aiming for them. So a little upward movement of the really run rate worm for New Norfolk as the first genuine short delivery, and a little stare from Drake. Stuart looked completely composed. The man with a triple century should be, even if it was in second grade. Leg side still to go, I reckon. That full ball. That is, yes, 6, just wide. May have even taken the fingertips of the fielder down there. And we'll get a replay of Burgess coming around and his right arm reached out. Just couldn't get it in. Yep. And also couldn't chop it down. And from my angle here, right out of the van, that rope comes in a couple of, maybe 30 or 40 centimetres there, but just getting over. And another 6. So Stuart Rice is turning this one back again. Changing the momentum, and some thinking need to be done now for Nathan Muir and the team from Wellington. And for the first time, Drake has been taken. And he's been taken to the leg side with these full deliveries. No change of the field. And that's an excellent follow-up delivery. Now there's 3 players in the offside, inside the circle. There's long off. I reckon there's a bit of value in just altering that field a little bit. Do they tempt and say, well, long off has to stay there. Maybe long on can come in, inside the circle. Bit of protection to allow him, and he's going around the wicket now. So he's just changing the angle a little bit to prevent that hit to leg. Well, that's not going to help because that's a wide down leg. So it's clear what Rice's and where Rice's hitting zone is. It's straightish. It's also square of the wicket. But it's generally the good timing is mid-wicket. It's hard to protect the boundary to our left-hand side as we look at on the screen. It's a short boundary. It's got the wind going in that direction. It's certainly the harder boundary to protect of the two, even though it is slightly uphill. Round the wicket still. That's monster. Bye-bye. Well, it was a full toss. There was some delight and a delicious strike. And it's up somewhere in the bushes. Not where Martin Duffy didn't quite go that high. That was the shot, and look at that. You could just see the timing. Well, see the timing. You can see the ball. You could hear the timing, I should say. It was a really sweet sound off the bat. And a sweet result for Norfolk and Rice. And Rice is on 38. Now, is that a no ball? Well, insult to injury. So 6, and now can't change the field. It was a no ball. I reckon that was below the waist. It's tight enough anyway. What can we do? What can Stuart do? That is miles in the air. Miles in the air. And that is a free hit for the ages. Oh, well, suddenly I'm standing up in the van. Martin Duffy's about to rise up the scissor lift another couple of metres because he only just got hold of this one. And this went high and fast. Boom. Boom shakalaka. That was a ripper. What an over. Stuart Rice has turned this. Such a good spell from Brandon Drake. He's 4 overs. He was 4 overs, I should say 3 overs, for 14 runs at the start. And at the end, I'll just zip up the score to make sure I got it right. 40. 4 overs for 40 after he was 3 overs for 14. So 26 off his last over. And Andrew Downton was chatting to us earlier on. 1 or 2 overs can change the game. So dot balls, obviously a couple of wickets and some dot balls, or an over of 26. That's the George Bailey over, isn't it? 26 versus Jimmy Anderson at the Wacker. Brian Lara, I think, hit 26 in a test match. Well, now Stuart Rice has done it in a T20 semi to try and get his team back into the match because they were generally behind. The run rate had got up to about 9.8. Now they've just stemmed it a bit. Right, so Manson into the attack. The ponytail tied up. And tying up the batting of Banks Smith. Banks Smith just needs to get off strike. Get Rice on there. Let the fun and games begin with Rice on strike. Now there's the appeal. That's out. Well, Manson's thrown one wide. Banks Smith's tried to smack it, and he's landed up out of his crease. And he's going to have to walk off. And it's also a wide. It's stumped on a wide. Will that change it again? So Banks Smith out.
Go, Dickie.
And Richard Graham into the crease. Huge wicket. Isaac Manson with his first over. He's bowled a wide. He's got a wicket. All in the same passage of play. We might try and wind that one up again, Jerry. Can we get the replay? We'll have a look at that one again. It was a big swing of the bat. So Graham on strike. Wow. It was really wide, and Banks Smith was trying to spin around and get his bat back, but couldn't do it. And he was left stranded. So Isaac Manson with the breakthrough. Richard Graham at the crease, the left-hander. Well, there you go. That's 4. 50% deliberate. He was certainly trying to glide it through the third man region, but it was definitely an edge. But a safe shot in a short-form cricket game with no catches behind the stump. And Isaac Manson rocking the Oakleys at the moment. They've had a hat. Farrelly wore the hat. Manson's got the glasses. Be nice to see someone rock both. It's probably the right option. He's trying to get off strike and get himself in as well, Graham. But when you've got someone hitting it as well at the other end, you've got some slow bowlers on. Yes, he's bowling flat, but Rice needs to be the one to drag them home. That's a Manson over. In fact, he's still got one to go. So let's have a look at the field to Rice. So the protection on the leg side in front of the wonderful decoration there by someone on the fence and some Christmas sparkles. So 2 players deep on the fence in the spot where Rice has been hitting them. And there's also a long on as well. So 3 players all in front of square. And what have we got here? The umpires are just chatting at the moment. Are they chatting about the number of deliveries? They're going to now check in the scorebook. 1 to go. Are they saying 1 to go or is it over? I thought it was over, hence I called it. But I haven't got a counter. I was just doing it via stealth. I think they need to get these things right. You can imagine that one of the umpires has the count right. You only got to count to 6. That is the over. So Manson's done. Well, that was eventful. Took an extra 30 seconds. A little bit of fun and games at the end. So Manson with the wicket. Also went for a boundary. And Rice is at the non-strikers again. Non-strikers end again. So 6 overs. 48 runs, 36 deliveries. We've got a bit of a grandstand finish here on Duff TV. Second of the 2 SCA T20 Big Bash Grand Finals. Can we say Big Bash? It's probably naming rights, but Super Bash. Old Beach are waiting. The Bushrangers are waiting and enjoying that both teams are going down to the wire here. Dilgar coming from the northern end. Ripping that one. I reckon this could be a little interesting. Dilgar versus Rice, the right-hander. Now the protection will swing back onto the leg side. So Burgess has gone deep to the mid-wicket fence. There is no one straight. Oh no, yep, there is long on. So what's he going to do? He's going to hit it in the air for 6. Well, it's simple mathematics. You bowl, I hit 6s. That's what Rice is saying at the moment. And the only time it's not happening is when he's at the non-strikers end. Let's see this on the replay. Slight faster delivery may be required from Dilgar. As the ball gets handed back the door and checked to make sure it hasn't got a big dent, but it is the ball. It might disappear again. What's he got up his sleeve, Dilgar? Flatter, faster. Very well done. So game on here. Game on between batter and bowler, the great test of cricket. That's down the ground. Now, that one, if it got on the second bounce, it may have been tricky, but it wasn't. It was on the first bounce. Graham now, who's looked to slog sweep on one occasion. There's some risk in that shot with fielders out. And I think his choice is right, just defend and let Rice have the next. It's the end of the over. So another 6 in that from Rice. A knock down the ground. 40 off 30. So it's been a turnaround in this game. It's gone up to 9.8 and over. And Stuart Rice, single-handedly, has got it back to 8. There is a little question around the wickets down. And that'll help as well. Stuart Rice show here. Is he getting New Norfolk over the line against the superstar Wellington side, who we reckon, when I say who, I mean me, we're about 21 short in their innings. That is just flicked off his toes. So a bit of quality and class as Isaac Manson has to make an adjustment here. Look out. What at wickets. It's the longest bit of meterage he could have found. And Curran takes the catch. Well, what a moment in this game. Manson gets his second. You can see Curran coming around. And about 2 steps in, he'll take the comfortablest of catches in the outfield. He'll had plenty of time to get under that one. Now Blake Kemler at the crease. And another twist and turn as Graham and Kemler are the ones that have to do the job with Rice. Only metres, maybe a metre and a half more, and that would have been 6, maybe a couple of metres left or right. I mean, he was hitting them so cleanly. It's nearly a shame to see him wander off the ground, but just a twist that we expected. .55 to Stuart Rice. He actually got a half century right at the back end of his innings with that last 6. Now there's a chance of run out. Missed. So 55 to Rice, 20 deliveries, 8 sixes, 1-4. We talked about his 38 sixes. In his epic 300, he scored about 7 years ago. Well, his ratio to 6 to 4s weren't bad. That's firmly hit by Graham. There's still no Wishart. I understand why there's no Wishart. He's probably not the biggest of hitters. Keeps pushing himself down the order. Kemler's been an A-grade player this year. Hasn't had a massive impact on the score, but he's been given an opportunity. So maybe he'll be able to find the fence. They still need to keep the ticking of the score over. And there's still an over to come from Downton. Spinner's doing the job at the moment. Straight to the fielder. So a successful over for Isaac Manson. Curran taking the catch deep, right in front of some of the supporters here in the club rooms at Old Beach. And a half century of what I could say was hit, giggle, and a lot of fun for us here. And I hope for you out there as well. I've got Norfolk from in a challenging position to back in the game, and they're still in it. 6 runs off that over. 24 balls, 32 runs for victory. That is the metrics. And it's Dilgar to bowl. So Dilgar's got some protection again on the leg. He can't bowl too short. Can't bowl. And it can be paddled around the corner. There's quite an extraordinary amount of space behind the umpire on the leg side. I think the lap or the ramp is probably a shot that not a lot of sort of suburban cricketers play, or even Premier League cricketers play. And without pace, it's a very difficult shot. Now they've just made a change. So that's Burgess going back at the square. That's a better field. I feel safer about that one. It does now free up more of a square shot though. So if Graham can make it, he could potentially get it through the offside. Yeah. So he's got some space, mostly on the offside. He's going to have to be straight, leg side-ish. And those 2 fielders out there on the leg boundary, just in front of the big net, got some work to do. They've got to keep protecting it. Singles are okay. It's a stage where A dot ball's going to hurt. A single's okay. The odd boundary will keep them, get it down to about 10 with an over to go. Now, there should be a run there. They're going to get it now. Well, that was confusing. And after all that, well, there was an easy run. Graham wanted it. Then Graham didn't, and Kemlin was off. He said, well, I'm running. Surely that's a run, and it's one of those ones that's behind point. Both players are obviously got to be calling that. And I think there was just a little mix-up in the end. The result was right. There was a single. That was an awkward shot by Kemler. Trying to just flat bat it down the ground. There is not a lot of room. I mean, straight over the bowler's head's okay, but against a spinner who's bowling flat. There should be a run. He's done a good job, Dilgar, in this over so far. Graham on 10, Kemler on 3, and a useful over. So we're down to 3. 18 balls to go. The gap's just widened a little bit. There's 10 between, so they need an over. The next 2 overs, maybe this one. You don't want to leave too much to the end. I mean, anything between 6 and 10 is challenging. I mean, you could easily score 15, 16 off an over, 2 sixes, and you've done it with nearly 2 hits. But any runs off the last over 5 or 6 could be a challenge for the batters. And both batters have struggled a little bit against the off pace of these 2 spinners. Manson, round the wicket. Again, a slog and sweep, and it's missed. It's the right shot, I reckon. He's trying to hit it relatively straight. There's a bunch of fielders out there, so he'll have to clear the rope. Otherwise, most likely he's going to be caught, and he's going to be caught now. No, he's not. Downton completely lost that in the wind. And I can tell you that was purely the wind. Downton was early in position. He put his hand up, and it's gone away for 4. Well, what a moment. You might see that one. You could actually see here in the replay, wind's picked up again. You see, and it was also spinning. See, Downton's here, got it. No, I don't. It's not just not got it. It's gone about 10 metres over his head. That's how far the wind's blown it in the end. Big boundary. And another swing and miss. Well, there's one option, and he's sticking to his guns. He's trying to hit it over mid-wicket. He's aiming for that car over there again. Dab and run. We got the boundary for the over, so that's 5 runs. Cracking finish here to the Southern Cricket Association, second of the 2 semis. Old Beach waiting patiently for their chance. And that is a bit of an appeal. It's going to be a wide, yeah. Manson disappointed. You could just see the disappointment in his face. He's bowled quite well. He's bowled flat trajectory, and he's done it again. Nearly identical ball. It's gutsy. It's also gutsy. If it gets through the infield, that's 4. So clearly the cut shot. Bang, 6, monster. Look out, Pajero. Well, there's a chap, well, it actually might be a lady coming out, or someone's coming out of their front yard with some rubbish. Might be best they throw that cricket ball back. What a moment in this game. There he is. Give us the ball back, please, sir. The family's come out. Maybe they're going into safety by getting out of the way. Here he goes. He's passed the ball back. Gets a thank you there from the Wellington player. Here it is. Well, he was teeing up the whole over, and he wanted that. Absolutely, Graham did not want to leave that over without trying to get one over the mid-wicket fence. 131. What a finish. Well, what's this doing here, he said. Just cruising out. Maybe his insurance prices have just gone up a little bit. When Rhett Lockie was batting, it was in genuine danger. And then again. So Graham will be on strike. And there is scenario, bottom right of the screen. 16, 12 balls. Wow, 2 boundaries. That 6 and a 4 off that last over. So they've got to try and work out how they're going to curtail and protect the boundary. Ones are okay, kind of for both sides. It's going to have to be outside off stump. And there's a bit of luck. There's going to be a couple here. So poorly timed. Drake comes around, or is it Burgess? And a couple of runs. 14. Well, there's another bit of luck, but it won't get too far as Doughton comes around. So he's got an over left. Imagine he'll be bowling the last over. Often is the case, the Pomolton over, the second last, I didn't even say that correctly, is in these T20 games is often the most important over. Maybe he's going to be left alone. Another swing to leg and missed. Faster one. Out. Huge wicket for Dilgar. Was changed again. I can't keep up at the moment. Twists and turns like a twisty-turny thing. And I imagine, finally, and probably not a bad time either, Seb Wishart is coming out. Been pushing himself down the order, and finally, Wishart is in. So Kemmler and Wishart, the ones to bring home the Norfolk. And bowling-wise, Manson still has an over to go, so maybe they will go with Manson, considering it's at this end. And although Doughton's got one, he probably would have bowled this over, I would have thought. Dilgar's bowling. He's bowling his 4th. He's got 2 balls left. 1 ball, in fact, I'm being told by the crew here. So Graham was a big wicket. Wishart. That's clever. That's really clever. Well, I talked about it 2 overs ago. If someone could manage to get the ball backward of square on the leg side, there is a walloping big space there. And look at all the movement from Wishart. Jumping and dancing around the crease and swatting it away for 4. Last ball of the over needed to be a dot, or maybe a 1 at best. And it made it difficult. Now it's evens. 9 off 6 deliveries. What a cracking finish. We're just being asked what happens if it's even. Team that finishes higher on the ladder, maybe. I'm not sure. It is going to be Doughton, so he's going to be bowling from with a bit of a breeze. I mean, it makes sense it's Doughton. He's obviously got a lot of first class and experience. He's having a chat to the captain there. They're trying to work out how they're going to bring mid off and mid on up. I don't mind that, which would mean that Doughton might just change up the pace, maybe bowl into the wicket a little bit more. There could even be a short delivery. Let's just see what this makeup is. We've got an exciting finish here. Once again, thank to Kookaburra, Bendigo Bank, Good Sports and Greg Chappell Cricket Centre out in Moona, and all the team of the SCA and both the Old Beach Cricket Club here. And Rossi and Early, the president, 45 plus years. And it's come down to this. Old Beach await. Downton to bowl. Will his left arm manage to do it? Kemmler on strike. The first one's gone for a single. And this is when runouts, I think, come into play. And potentially some nervous batters waiting to come in. Maybe willing Wishart and Kemmler to do the job. Wishart with all this experience, top order player. And we saw how crafty he was. So he's got a mid-wicket long on. And that's where he's getting the ball. And he's knocked it down the ground for a single. It could have been a runner, but Downton decided to hold on to it, not risk it. So two balls, 2 runs, 7. And if you look at this field, they've got a little bit of it. They're playing at sort of 2 games at the moment. So they've got a deep cover point and a third man. Third man's a really good position. Kemler. In the air, just wide, 4. Kemler delivers, full delivery, and he hit it just wide. And I think that one extra play on the offside is too much of a risk at the moment. With the full ball, I think they've just got the field 1 player wrong. They've nearly played bits and pieces of cricket here, and they've kind of gone, well, you try and win the game, or we'll just try and defend it. Whereas, in fact, they may need to put some pressure on them and go, well, we're going to try and bowl to 1 spot. Now there's a player going out to where that boundary was hit, which means it has to be full. Third man comes up inside the circle. There's still the deep point, which is okay coverage. I don't mind that. So there's no fine leg. So the opportunity to get it through fine leg, and now another player's coming. So this is the only real play here, I think, for Wellington, is to try and protect the big boundary. And maybe the breeze has swung a little bit around, although it's quite steady at the moment. 3 balls left. Well, there you go. Doughton delivers. And the twist and turny thing continues. There's Joshua Walsh is into the crease. What a moment. I saw him walk past about 15 seconds ago. He probably just got his kit on. And he nervously stood just up to the left. He may have faced a couple of balls in the throwdown nets, and he just sees the wicket. Full, fast, brilliant. So it's Wishart and Walsh, the 2 Ws. Three runs for victory. So those that are joining into the end of this SCA Grand Final, we hope you're enjoying it. It's a blockbuster finish. We don't know what happens if the scores are a little tied at the end. It could be the team that finished on top in this short format T20 competition here in the SCA. The umpire's taking his time to ensure the wickets are nice and straight. There's no bails on them at the moment because it's been so windy today here at Old Beach. Downton bowling, 2 balls left, 3 runs needed for the victory for New Norfolk. And a spot in the grand final against Old Beach. 2 huge clubs of the SCA playing here at the moment. Up against a traditionally big club, Old Beach, but a club that's built back again with Rhett Lockyer and co. Denton. And now it's down to this. Well, can you believe it? Downton's hands, he said he's going to get a run. He might have run him out. Now, the umpire wasn't looking. Well, that is extraordinary. I'd like to think well, maybe the umpire was looking. It was a calamitous sort of moment, a wide. And it was close of anything. And now the scores are tied. Now they're having a conversation here. The captain's come up. He's not happy, Nathan Muir. We might see him get that on the replay, G-Funk. I think that maybe there's some benefit of doubt. It was certainly close. Let's see it all again. So he's standing in front of the wickets and tried to flip it around. So it's a wide. The ball's just, he was potentially run out. Now they go. Downton's disgusted. And let's see, he was gone. But a tough call for the umpire to make. His bat was there. It was behind the crease. It was a really difficult one for the umpire in that circumstance. Maybe we can send out a signal. Were they asking for the 3rd umpire? They made the 3rd umpire signal, Jarro. Well, we can confirm from our angle. We'll have another look at it again. They're having a long discussion, these two. I'm not sure what they could be discussing. Are they discussing was it out or not? If that was the case, it happened about a minute ago. We'll get another replay on that one, though. The scores are tied with a ball left. So there's the wide. There's... No, it wasn't a run-out opportunity. Downton's hands on his head. And this is the moment of the match. There. Well, we think it's out. But what I can say is it's extremely close. And I wouldn't want to be in the umpire's hands or in his mind at the moment. There must be some pressure on him. He certainly looked like, when I initially thought, he probably didn't get in the best position, but it's only taking a long time to deliberate. Nathan Muir's having a conversation. Here we go, got another angle on this. Yeah, well, I'm happy with that. I'm putting the hand up. Not sure the body might have obscured it, as Westaway was trying to get around in a good position. Now what's happening? Are they leaving the ground? So the two umpires are leaving the ground and having a conversation.
Why are we doing this? Fuck, mate.
Well, Downton's got some... Maybe they're checking the score. Well, if you're just tuning in, it's an incredible finish, this T20. The scores are tied, 147. We've just seen a wide from the second last ball from Downton, and then nearly a run out. Well, it's still nearly a run out because it was a really tough one for the umpire, but we've seen about 4 replays. And now I think they're just checking the score. Don't mind they're getting this spot on, but it's certainly an unusual delay. The umpires came together and had a conversation. We're not sure if it was about the run out or it was about the wide or the score or whatever it was, but they look like they've got it sorted now. The ball's handed back to Downton. I have a feeling they've probably just wandered off to work out what happens if it's a tie. Super over. And we'll just make sure we've got our score right as well. So what are they actually discussing then?
Apparently we need 2 off 2. So they called that throw at dead.
So they're 1 run behind still. Thanks for that. Yeah, cheers. Right, so we got confirmation now. The score is 146. So the ball was dead. Apparently when the keeper took the ball, they're saying, the umpires are saying the ball was dead. So score is 146. The wide counts, but the run doesn't. Let's actually get the whole thing on a replay, Jero, because it looked like, and I'm not an expert in the rule, but it looked like there was some continuous play here. So wide.
So what do we need?
I can't see. I'm not 100% sure on the rules. We'll try and find them. I think they talk about continuous play. I actually think that's probably an okay result, considering that we probably think there was a run out at the bowler's end. But it's an unbelievable finish here. Holy trousers. 2 to win, 1 to tie. We don't even know what happens if there's a tie. We might get a super over. Maybe Ben Stokes wins, I'm not sure. Maybe England win again. This last delivery's taken 7.5 minutes. I hope Downton's arms and thighs and hamstrings haven't cooled down. He's had a smile on his face the whole time. And I think he may have looked at the commentary position where I had my hand up saying that was probably out. So Now we're back into it again. Walsh on strike. Downton bowling. 2 to get them through to a grand final. 1 will tie the match. The field is this. 3 players on the leg side, outside the ring. Another player coming up that finally come. This is a good move. So there is space behind the wicket on the leg for a couple or even a boundary. There's a third man, or no, I think he probably needs to go back, and there's some space at long off. It's a long off now gone back as well. So bits and pieces field here. He's going to have to bowl a Yorker, and he gets stopped. We're delaying it even further. Downton hands up. Last ball, 2 runs for victory. He's going for an LB. It's in the air. It's in the space. He's dropped it. And they're coming back for a second. And can you believe it? It ended like that. New Norfolk have won. And Wellington are distraught. A terrible position to be in. Braden Drake, who did such a good job with the ball, his first 3 overs cost 14 runs and he went for 26. A horrible moment. It was in the air for such a long time. For a while, I didn't think it was going to get to him. He made some great ground to it. But the result, and we'll see in the replay, the Downton delivery was full, but also in the slot, it was scooped up in the air. And here comes Drake. A lot of ground to be made. He's there. He may have made too much. And on the second attempt, and that stage he knew that he couldn't grasp onto the cricket ball. And the second run was taken. Wishart celebrates. What a finish. You couldn't say it wasn't controversial. You couldn't say it wasn't entertaining. It's SCA cricket. You're on Duff TV. And I'm going to need a break before the grand finals. Old Beach v New Norfolk coming up in around not very long at all. In fact, we've got a short break. I need to have a breather. I need to have a sit down, get my feet up, maybe a massage. Jarrow, massage, mate. I'm stressed. That was intense. What a game. New Norfolk win by 3 wickets. Off the last ball, they needed 2 runs. They somehow did it. It was all about the second last delivery, which should be talked about for some time. Grand final coming up. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back to you soon. Old Beach v New Norfolk.
Hopefully back after Christmas.
There's a little bit of work to come back. That could be out. A huge wicket, a run out, a surprise. And after a bit of a lacklustre couple of deliveries, somehow there's a wicket down. A little high maybe, that was my initial reaction. I'm back on here in the commentary position for a little while. It's putting more pressure on himself, putting pressure on his team and giving some confidence to the bowler. Just shorter run up then, Downton. Now that's some runs, 4 of them. Oh, that's bounced over the top of the field, and that's going to find the fence. Well, that's like you see that at the maybe on a turf wicket where you hit the ball into fence in the off. So this has to be fairly back of a length, offside. Can't be too straight. Bowled him. Well, it was straight. It was very straight. Middle stump. Says Toodle Pip. Third man's open, so he can't bowl too much offside. He's got to keep it middle and leg. Can't bowl too short either. Can't bowl there. Cannot bowl there. 6. And I think he might have mucked his field up. That is a 6. Once again, delivery that's full, and the batter's unable to make any contact on it at all. That's the end of a great over. Well, that's been timed nicely. Timed extremely well and into the net. And I can tell you what, there was a taxi heading down Jetty Road, and he was directly in the path of that ball. Fortunately, there was a fence in the way. Yeah, I just think Wishart, imagine he'd be the next player in. Well, that's a beauty. Happy days into his work. That's the hitting area. That's a beauty. And another car in danger. Go and get your keys, people, and move them. Just back another 10 metres. Leg side still to go, I reckon. That full ball. That is, yes, 6. Just wide. May have even taken the fingertips. The fielder down there, slightly uphill. Round the wicket still. That's monster. Bye-bye. Well, it was a full toss. There was some delight and a delicious strike. And it's up somewhere in the bushes. Not where Martin Duffy didn't quite go that high at the waist. It's tight enough anyway. What can we do? What can Stewart do? That is miles in the air. Miles in the air. And that is a free hit for the ages. Oh! Strike. Now there's the appeal. That's out. Well, Manson's thrown one wide. Banks Smith's tried to smack it, and he's landed up out of his crease. And he's going to have to walk off. And it's also a wide. It's a stumped on a wide. Will that change it again? So Banks Smith out.
Go, Dickie.
Long on. So what's he going to do? He's going to hit it in the air for 6. Well, it's simple mathematics. You bowl, I hit 6s. That's what Rice is saying at the moment. 8. There is a little question around the wickets down. And that'll help us well. Stuart Rice show here. Is he getting New Norfolk over the line against the superstar Wellington side? Look out. What at wickets. It's the longest bit of meterage he could have found. And Curran takes a catch. A half century, right at the back end of his innings with that last 6. Now there's a chance of run out. Missed. Clear the rope. Otherwise, most likely he's going to be caught, and he's going to be caught now. No, he's not. Downton completely lost that in the wind. And I could tell you that was purely the wind. Downton was early in position. He put his hand up, and it's gone away. It's also gutsy. If it gets through the infield, that's 4. So clearly the cut shot. Bang, 6, monster. Look out, Pajero. Well, there's a chap, well, it actually might be a lady coming out, or someone's coming out of their front yard with some rubbish. Might be best they throw that cricket ball back. What a moment in this game. Faster one, out. Huge wicket for Dilgar. Was changed again. I can't keep up at the moment. Twists and turns like a twisty-turny thing. So Graham was a big wicket. Wishart. That's clever. That's really clever. Well, I talked about it 2 overs ago. If someone... Kemler. In the air. Just wide. 4. Kemler delivers. Full delivery. Boundary. And maybe the breeze has swung a little bit around, although it's quite steady at the moment. 3 balls left. Well, there you go. Doughton delivers. And the twist and turny thing continues. Well, can you believe it? Doughton's hands, he said he's going to get a run. He might have run him out. Now, the umpire wasn't looking. Well, that is extraordinary. I'd like to think well, maybe the umpire was looking. It was a calamitous sort of moment, a wide. And it was close of anything. And now the scores are tied. Now they're having a conversation here. The captain's come up. He's not happy, Nathan Muir. We might try and get that on the replay, G-Funk. I think that maybe there's some benefit of doubt. It was certainly close. Let's see it all again. So he's standing in front of the wickets and tried to flip it around. So it's a wide. The ball's just, he was potentially run out. Now they go. Doughton's disgusted. And let's see, he was gone. But a tough call for the umpire to make. His bat was there. It was behind the crease. It was a really difficult one for the umpire in that circumstance. Maybe we can send up. Last ball, 2 runs for victory. He's going for an LB. It's in the air. It's in the space. He's dropped it. And they're coming back for a second. And can you believe it? It ended like that. The Norfolk have won. And Wellington are distraught. A terrible position to be in. Braden Drake, who did such a good job with the ball, his first 3 overs cost 14 runs and he went for 26. A horrible moment. It was in the air for such a long time.